Can. No, with ours, I think depending on the guest, I would still get nervous no matter how many we've done of them. Who it was, especially if it's people we didn't know that well. You can push that over if you want. It'll slide.
There we go. Oh. You might just have to move this way a little bit.
Just after I fucking spent all this time.
I know.
Getting comfortable, making my pillows fucking badass. There we go. Fucking Jesus Christ. Let's see where Rai is at.
Yeah, I do remember. This is definitely a deep couch. I kept fidgeting last time trying to get comfortable on this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like when you lay back all the way and you're watching a movie, you could definitely get real comfortable. When you're just trying to sit up and not fall asleep, sometimes that's the...
Yes.
Bullshit.
Oh, boy. And if you have to, loosen this and extend it farther towards you. Yeah, that's actually right there. If that's comfortable, that's perfect. And you can look at that bottom, the center bottom, where the green is going to the right. So I want it about 3/4 of the way to the right, where you see me talking right now.
Yep.
That's perfect. That's where it should be for all of them.
Okay. Hey, what the? Yep.
Where's mine on at all? Hello? Hello? My mic's a little. Hello?
Which mic did I give you? The Sennheiser?
I feel like mine might be a little low.
It is. I think because it's not going as high.
You better not too quiet.
Close. I'm not quiet.
Yeah, you're close. You're close enough. It's got to be the... Yeah. Come on, Ken. You're supposed to be DJ Sensor Master Mixer over there.
Tauren won't.
Huh?
Tauren
2?
keeps talking. Shut up. It's still a little low. I was like yelling at you on that one. Hello? Yes. I was like closer than a fist too.
Tauren, up.
Hey.
Maybe I was turning the wrong one up.
I think so, because that
Yeah.
Hello? Yes. Hello. Hi.
That's a little
Hello.
more. Okay.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Check.
Yours is quiet. I could pick you up on the test one.
is this...
You said it was loud. I wonder why.
Is it in the channels all mixed the same as everything else in the gain? No buttons that pushed in or anything, or do you have a Do you have a channel?
No, that's it. That's what it was.
Was a button?
I have it set for instrument instead of mic, I think.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
So
Hello?
You're welcome.
There we go.
Okay, that's all it was.
Well, I the only reason I know is because I've had that happen.
Fucking nerds.
Yeah, that would have been a bummer.
Yeah. I was like the only other two options is either a dirty or bad input and it's going out, or there's that damn button from the line to the mic, and that will shoot it off into space.
Okay.
I've done that.
The one time Brendan talked, you couldn't hear him.
Exactly. Hopefully you're not fucking starting the podcast with all that hello bullshit.
What bullshit?
He's not going to edit all that out.
No, and we've already been recording for like a minute, or 2 minutes.
Oh, and that's all part of it?
Yeah, there's no intro.
That's
I just do it like Rogan. I don't even have intro music. I just hit record and we start talking. So Brendan and Tauren, cheers, guys, and thanks you for doing the podcast.
Oh,
Cheers.
No problem.
I think it literally was a little bit over a year ago that we did the other one.
That makes sense. Sounds about right.
Feels like it was September of last year. And then, of course, you guys had, and I'm blanking on the name of your podcast. I forgot what it was.
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot, right. So just for the 0 listeners I have, Brendan and Tauren used to have a podcast together, and I was a guest on it a few times with them.
And we also had 0 listeners.
I listened.
There was a few listeners. It's funny because I kind of forget about it, and I'll say something or bring something up, or somebody I know will say something. Friends, of course, nobody that I don't know, but they'll be like, "Oh yeah," and they'll just mention something about the podcast. We have one, and they're people that I had no idea that would listen to it. It wasn't like the inner circle that was, because usually the people that listen to it are probably in the group of people we invited onto it, right? But like even last night I was talking with my old friends, and she's like, "Yeah, I remember your podcast." I was like, "We haven't talked for years."
So
And
that's a good way to start it off. You guys did it for a while, but then at some point was just real life was happening. You and Mel got married. You got the family thing. Was it becoming too time consuming? That's why you guys stopped?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
For the
And
most part, scheduling.
A lot for me too, because we would have them at Tauren's house, and we would drive there, and then, what little producing we had, I would get home and then I would be on a like, it just got exhausting, and then working 50 hours a week. And
So, speaking of that, this is why I don't script it. This is why I don't come up bullet points. Is because within the first 5 minutes of every podcast, people will say something. And I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that. I know you did production on the podcast, but I'm like, you had your intro and outro music, and then did you end up doing a lot of editing, or was it only if a guest said something they didn't want on?
we wouldn't edit that. We would just more do just like compressing the files, and we'd even add in some ads, and then the
That's
intros,
right. You guys had some ads on it.
and then just uploading it, and just trying to make it sound decent. Probably we didn't have as good of a setup, so we would try to get the audio to sound good, and me not knowing what I'm doing.
And when you're saying compressing the files, what does that do for it?
Um,
I'm assuming it was just making it into an MP3.
I just think it makes it sound good. I really don't know. And
So you're talking about actually compression on the track, not, or are you talking about compressing the files to upload to our server or a host or whatever?
Well, it was what we used to record with.
I'm trying to remember what's that program we found. I think it was free or something.
It wasn't OBS, was it? That's free.
No.
Okay.
What was that? Because I know you still have some podcast. Don't you still have some
I do.
podcasts?
I would just look up videos and try to figure out how to do it. And
You were
and
doing
I remember
good.
we had, because the first ones they got to sound better later as we went, obviously. But when we had Holt and Natalie on, they helped me, Holt helped me as far as to get the sound better, and what filters to run through. And I'm not exactly sure what it all did, if I'm being honest. And
You
I
guys
don't
did
a good
have,
memory.
you had the small tabletop mixer that you would run the mics into, but then you were also running the audio out of that through a USB interface into the software. It's kind of the same way I'm doing it.
Yeah, into the laptop.
Yeah.
Way smaller mixer.
Yeah. You obviously
Don't
didn't.
need
That's
it,
just what I had because I used to DJ, but obviously it'd be more practical to have the smaller one that you guys were using.
Yeah, we had the audio interface with the mixer, and we tried a couple different things throughout the podcast because I had all the,
Sound equipment.
DJ gear, sound equipment for DJ gear and for the live band. But then one thing that really bumped our game up too, for at least while you're sitting there with your guests with the headphones, is I have this little awesome little thing called a jam hub.
Okay.
And we use it as it's a preamp, a headphone preamp that was built in there.
Oh.
Because we always had problems that for a while with guests being able to hear themselves out of the headphones. I don't know if you remember that. We couldn't get a good volume on the headphones, a good adjustment. And I was like, let's try this one day. And I took the Jam Hub and hooked it up with those other things, the interface and with the mixer. And not only did it have an awesome mic preamp built into it to where you can hear at what volume you want. Some people didn't like to hear themselves loud.
Oh,
Some
but
people
you
wanted
could
to hear
also,
them loud.
each guest could individually adjust their
Individually their own headphones because it's meant to this little jam hub. It looks like a little tiny mixing board, or a large interface is what it looks like, and it has, I think mine's 4 or 5 channels on there. And it's meant to, like, if you live in an apartment or a place where you can't be loud, but you all want to practice and rehearse, and you have an electronic drum kit, everybody plugs in to their own ports and does their own mix.
headphones.
So everybody can hear. The only thing acoustic that's really happening inside your rehearsal space is the singer.
Right.
Everything else is electronic and plugged in directly.
So it was designed for that.
Designed for that, but
also
it works for the
as a
podcast
headphone
great.
port.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have that damn thing. But yeah, Brendan ended up getting the little things that he was talking about doing on this platform or whatever the recording program was. It started sounding really good because when we first started out, it was kind of hit and miss on the sound and kind of sound like you were either in a large room or a tin can or, but then it started sounding pretty good. And I think that's what he's talking about. The compression really saved the day, as you know, with compression.
Yeah.
For live music or your vocals especially, those things really make it something sound clearer and more front forward in your ears. And that's what saved us.
Is that what it does? Because I do on the 4 microphone channels, I always keep, I don't overdo it, but I put the compression up to about 11:30.
Yeah.
But I run some compression on all the mic channels.
And compression's good for recording. I mean, that's what's there, or for live sound too, because what happens is it gets too thin, the sound, and it sounds like people are far away from mics without compression.
Oh, okay.
And usually compression and noise gating can work hand in hand. So that way, when someone is up close or far away or yelling and then going to talking real fast, like
Yeah.
loud and quiet, that will help. The gate will help with that, so you don't overdo it and red line on your clip
It's almost like a limiter.
limiter. And the compression makes it sound solid and full and thick.
Okay.
So like I remember, and I only learned this shit from recording in bands back in the day when I would sit behind the engineer when they're doing their things and mixing, and I would always see they would always throw well, hear it now. And I'm like, wow, that sounds during playback when they do some of the things. I'm like, what's that? That always makes it sound thick and full, like you hear on a CD or on the radio.
recording, yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's the voice compressor, like your compression on your vocals, so that way you don't hear yourself in what sounds like maybe a large room or a living room.
Okay.
Vocally, it sounds like you're in a studio and it's a tiny little room, and all it's picking up is your voice. That's it. It's not picking up anything around you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys did it for how many episodes? 70, 100? How many episodes did you guys do?
I want to say closer to 20 or 30, right?
Oh, that was it? I thought you did it longer than that.
Gosh, I don't think it was 70, but I think it was more than 30.
Because I feel like I was
I
on
want to say
it.
30 to 40.
That's probably, and you're probably right. I mean, because you're the ones that has the library and the database.
I can
of it.
look. I'll have to look.
I'm
Thought about
curious. I
doing
want to hear some
something
of
with
those.
it, like a highlight reel or something would be kind of fun to put out.
Hell yeah.
We
'Cause I was
should.
on it 3 times. Me and Nick came down, the bartender. Then me and Pam came down. Maybe it was just the 2 times. Did I ever come down alone? Or
I
was
think you did come down.
I think it was 3 times. I think it was
Yeah.
you,
me and Nick?
you and Nick, and
I
then
don't-
you and Pam.
And
I
then
don't know
came.
if I was there on the one with Nick, right? Is that the bartender?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that's the bartender. I can't remember if you are, and that would almost make sense if you weren't, because there is one lost episode that we never released, and I think it's the one with Nick on there, because I think you were gone, and I didn't have, so I saved it. In fact, I might even have it on my laptop, but I don't have the same
Oh, but it never
programs and
got-
editing that he would
but it
do.
never
I think
got
you did.
released.
I think you're the one. I think we used your program.
Oh,
Something that you found, and it was like a multi-track thing that we ended up that you might have used it for bands or something. I think you're the one to tell me what.
well, maybe
program
I
to
told
use.
you what program it was, but you're the one that would take, because you would take your
I
laptop
would use it
home.
on my stuff. And
On
then
your stuff,
upload
yeah,
it to the
but there-
host,
and there
which
is that
Libsyn,
one.
I think
Libsyn, or is that the host?
that's the host.
That's the host, Libsyn. I don't even know if they're around anymore.
Oh, the hosting platform to get it out on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to put together what years this was. 2015, 16 when you were doing it? 'Cause I
16
was
for
still at
sure.
Puffs.
It was over. It was before I started with Caney, so definitely over 10 years. when
Oh,
we
so maybe
started.
2014.
Yeah, we had to.
Okay.
Well,
And
it had to
before I
be.
got-
It was no earlier than 2014 because we just moved to Kaiser, and Brittany and I got together about that time. 2014 is when we started dating, and Jackson was, I think maybe Brittany was pregnant, and we had Jackson while we were doing the podcast.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a cat
It
here.
could have been early.
Me neither.
Yeah, it could have been early 2015, but it was definitely before I started.
Yeah, I think it was 2015 probably is when we started it, because I know we had all the kids on. We have pictures with Jackson there
Oh,
when he's
yeah.
a baby and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and he was born January of 2016. So I think we had it for what, maybe a couple years.
Yeah, I think so.
Only probably 2 years really. A year
And then
we had
the
a little
technology was probably way different back then. Like, what was there? There was probably still Apple Podcast. Was there Spotify then? What were you putting? What were you uploading it to so people could listen?
So Libsyn would, I think, would it be on Apple?
Mm-hmm.
I know it was on
They-
Podcast Addict.
Yeah. Basically,
But
they
it was
would
before.
send it to anywhere that any big streaming service that would have podcasts like Spotify, iTunes.
That's
all
what I
that.
mean. Was Spotify around back then?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if ours was ever on it. Do you know if it was?
I think it was.
I wasn't
it might
using
not
it
have
back
been right away, but I think it was. I know it was on Apple. I know it was on the other. Back then you would just search on your app store, whether you had iPhone or Android. You would search
Stitcher. Was it Stitcher?
Oh.
Stitcher is a podcast one too.
That might be one. We did one called Podcast Addict. There were apps that would find, go out on the internet and find
They're
podcasts that were
podcatchers.
streaming.
Podcatchers.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And they would allow you to download, save, and play and stream.
But then, did your guys' hosting platform just automatically send it to all those outlets, or did you have to individually put it on each outlet? Like
it was
on
automatic,
Stitcher?
wasn't
Yeah, it was all automatic.
Okay,
I'm
so that's
pretty
the
sure.
same as it is today.
Yeah,
So
and that's
do
kind of the
you
reason
pay
we
for
went
a
to it.
host?
I was until I stopped doing. Got the first 60 episodes. I was paying Buzzsprout, and they would put it up on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. But Spotify is only audio. You have to be really big to get video on there, and I couldn't. So I did the first 60 or so on both YouTube and Spotify, but then I was like, the whole point of this is I want it to be a video podcast, and I'm like, so I'm just going to do it on YouTube. So I pay like a $5 a month maintenance fee to Buzzsprout, so they'll keep what's on Spotify there, but I'm not doing any of the new ones on Spotify. It's only YouTube, and it's free, obviously.
Oh.
But I want the video element. That's the whole point of it.
Can someone listen to just the audio if they wanted to?
I mean, you can just go to YouTube.
Okay.
I mean, you have to. The only place you can get the later episodes is on YouTube. It's
On
the only,
YouTube.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm not using the hosting platform for any of the new ones. I just pay them $5 a month to keep what's on Spotify there.
Okay. Because I remember that was one of the biggest. Obviously, we didn't do video, but we talked about it, and we would have loved to do YouTube. But I know for me, and I think a lot of our listeners, they would mainly listen to our podcast while at work or driving to and from work.
Well, and if you guys had sponsors, it seemed like you guys were maybe trying to get this to be a revenue source eventually. Whereas it's just a passion project for me. I don't care if I make money off of it, which is why I'm like, oh, listen to it on YouTube. I know it's not easy when you're going on a walk or you're in your car. Because you have to open the YouTube window up and play it, and then if your screen goes blank, YouTube will stop playing.
Yep,
You
exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing that's the one pain in the ass, because there's other things I try to view on
Yeah.
that too. But no, with us, we weren't really trying. If I remember correctly, I mean, if we could have got sponsors and made some
that would've been
couple
awesome.
bucks, we were cool with it.
We made barbecue sauce and
That's
Yeah.
right. I
hemp
remember that.
drink,
Hemp
you know,
drinks
Yes.
and
nothing. We didn't ever make any money. It
No.
was just for fun.
And I think for us, the biggest thing was kind of just if people would help us out, either spread the word or like provide like stuff we can give to our guests when they showed up, like the hemp
swag.
drinks and swag and the barbecue sauce. We were handing that
Just
shit out
helping
like
out our friend
crazy,
on that one. And
helping a friend out. I mean, that for us, that was kind of the cool thing, because it really was just a passion thing for us too. Like
Yeah.
we didn't expect, to be to be the next Rogan or all these comedians
Right.
that are now just giant and huge, just because we kind of realized back then too. It's like, even then, it's like the reason that those guys are so big in their podcasts is because people already, to some level, they have a starting point to kick off. They know who they are,
Right.
and there's marketing behind them, because that's their business. Their
Yeah.
business is marketing them themselves. So that podcast comes into play with that.
Yeah.
With us, we knew that it would have been so far fetched for someone to just stumble across, and it was so good out of the other millions of podcasts out there that it just jumped through the ladders and the ranks. And I mean, and even back then, there was nowhere near as many as there is now.
But there was still a
podcasts.
lot.
There was still a lot. It was
Yeah.
still crazy.
Oh my
because
God.
Joe Rogan was telling everyone to start
Go
a podcast.
start a
so
podcast.
Yes.
we
We
said
listened.
it'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were like addicted in the early
Yep.
days to that. And I wanted to eventually, like, because you wanted to do video, and I thought it'd be cool to like watch clips and like watch funny stuff and then kind of riff on that. But
Oh, like almost an interactive as you're recording the podcast,
Yeah,
looking at clips and talking about them.
yeah, like Your Mom's House, Tom Segura's podcast. They
Okay.
do that, and they'll play the clips and they'll play fucked up shit, and it's just kind of fun to watch. That's one of my favorites, and I always wanted to do that because it's kind of fun to, if you had a lull in the conversation or something, you're like, oh, check this out. And
Yeah.
then you play it, and you're like, and then you start talking shit about it, and
I did
one of those
review
things.
our last one, but I don't remember everything. So let's cover this, and I'm sure we've talked about it. But how do you all know each other? You didn't grow up together, did you?
No.
we were 16, and I was already working at Cinnabon, and he
In Salem,
in Cinnabon, yeah, Lancaster Mall.
Lancaster Mall.
And his buddy that he went to school with was working there, and I guess you'll have to probably say how you end up talking to Adam, but I think that's how it
Just
was
from going to school, I met him at school.
And you knew he was working there, or you just, I can't remember.
Well, yeah, because
how
by
you
that
started.
point we were friends, and he was a little bit older than the rest of our group that we hung out with, maybe even a grade older than me. I can't remember, but I just moved back into Salem from a small little podunk town, and I moved back to Salem. My mom lived. I didn't know a lot of people, and I started getting to playing music, and that's how I met him. And
Was he one of those original high school guys that you started music with?
we used to play and jam a lot. We were never officially in a band, but
He wasn't in
He
that.
was one of those high school guys that was around that
Okay.
scene. But once him and I met, and of course going to parties, because it was one of those things everybody would show up to parties, and there would always be music equipment sitting around, so people would just
Oh.
kind of jam and riff and freestyle. And
But Adam worked at Cinnabon too?
Yeah, Adam
Okay.
worked.
He
at
eventually
Cinnabon
got the
after
job
me,
there. Yeah.
and he came after that, and then yeah,
And
Yeah.
I don't even know. Or
Footprints.
did you ever play instruments or anything, music? Okay.
nope.
Same circle of friends though, through meeting him through Adam, kind of.
Yeah. Oh, well, I feel like I met everyone from Cinnabon. Like we still have a lot of people. Like Josh worked at Cinnabon, and like Jesse worked at Cinnabon, and like a lot of our
Jesse.
crew back then.
Jesse from Presley's.
Mhm.
That's Jesse, right?
Yeah, and he used to be in the band.
Yep.
So basically, Cinnabon was that new hub of how everybody met each other. Like at North Salem, I met a couple people, Jesse being one of them.
And you
Adam.
were North Salem or no?
No.
Okay.
So
Got
he
it.
was, I think, McKay, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. What little I went to school.
Went to school
Yeah.
because he was already working at Cinnabon and basically moving up the little
Nice.
ranks of Cinnabon. But the thing is that at Cinnabon, the way that it all became a hub, and I'll let Brendan kind of finish, but it was like we would all hire each other's friends.
Okay.
Like once one person got in, then you get your other buddy in, then you
Yep.
get your other buddy in. It was just a chain reaction. So
It was a
that's how
shit
started.
show, and I was a manager before I could legally be a manager, and then the Adam guy was like the assistant, and then he was like a crew lead, and we would either.
You're not
well,
even 18 yet?
No, I wasn't 18. I was like 16.
16.
Or 17 when I officially was that, maybe. And we would either hire our friends or hot chicks
Of course.
for
That
obvious
was it.
reasons.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
And that's what we did. And we did that for a couple years.
But you're born and raised in the Salem area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real
Your
close
parents
to
still
Lancaster
around
Mall.
or?
My parents they live Albany and Lebanon.
Okay, but
Yeah, they're still around, yeah.
like elementary school through high school in Salem.
Yep.
Okay.
I ventured out to Kaiser when I was 18 for half a year. And
Yeah, you wanted to see the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I worked up north for a little bit. No, I never left.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, really, but
Well,
now we
you've
got-
traveled. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, not a lot, but I've stayed close
And
to
then,
home.
so how did you meet Mel?
The first time it's kind of the same hub of friends, like through Tauren, pretty much.
Okay.
I had met, actually, the first time was through Sunny. The first time, but she doesn't even remember meeting me. Sunny was kind of dating Mel, and at Lancaster Mall when I was working at Cinnabon, they walked through the food court, and I saw Sunny. He said hi, and then introduced me to her. And she never remembers this, but that's the first time I remember meeting her. And Tor knows I have a weird thing with remembering people sometimes.
Well, yeah, definitely with names too sometimes, but definitely faces. Bren's really good at.
It's like hit or miss. Yeah, people won't remember me, and I'll be like, yeah, I totally remember you. And I'll
Okay.
like 3 times I've met them, and they're like, oh,
Maybe that's the thing is the people that don't remember you are the ones you remember the most.
yeah, maybe. I feel like I'm losing that now, though. My memory's getting worse with age.
Well, not a young buck anymore.
Yeah,
Well, and Mel's also from Salem?
yeah. She's a little younger than us. I think she's.
You all are
37.
fucking younger than me. I'm 52.
No, you're old.
Well, you're really
That's why it's the
super,
Grandpa
super
Podcast. You want to hear stories from us young bucks?
old. That's right. Reliving his
Living
youth.
vicariously through y'all.
Oh, you're not that much older.
And how much? Not how much. You and Mel have kids, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
we have 2.
I'm showing her that part. I'm gonna
yeah,
highlight that
6
and send it to her.
Well, we have a 16 and a 13-year-old, almost 17, almost 14.
Okay.
And then we were kind of raising a niece and a nephew for a while too.
Okay.
So, but now my niece is with my sister, and then my nephew's 18. It's about the same age as Katie.
Okay.
So they're all
That
old.
your daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. She was here last time I was here, right? I think. Didn't I briefly say hi to her? It was
can't-
one of your daughters.
I can't remember if it was her or Cameron. I feel like it might have been Cameron.
Oh, it was
but
Cameron. I
she-
recognize the name.
Yeah, it's probably Cameron. Yeah, Katie's very rarely here right now. She is actually upstairs, but
Okay.
she's getting ready to go to visit her friend for the weekend at the Dells. So she'll be leaving here Probably
Tonight
within the
she's
hour.
driving all the way to the Dalles?
Her friend's mom's driving all the way down here to pick her up and drive all the way back to the
Wow.
Dallas. As far as I know, I don't think
Okay.
they're going to stop in Portland. I think they're going
Damn.
straight to the
It's
Dallas.
quite a drive late at night. But you know what? There won't be any traffic. That's the one advantage. Like
I would much rather
I'm
do
not,
it, yeah.
the drive home is going to go like half the time it did to get down here.
Oh, to get down, yeah, exactly. Screw that drive anymore.
Are
Thank
you in
God.
Portland or Washington?
Vancouver. Yeah, right across the river. Yeah. Yeah, I try not to cross that Columbia River unless I have to, because Vancouver is it's getting to be more populated, but I can still get across town in 15 minutes, and you can't do that in Portland. It just there's traffic all the time, every day. Doesn't matter, except maybe after 8 or 9 at night. But like the 205 bridge going over the river from Portland to Vancouver, there'll be northbound traffic backed up even at 7:30 or 8 p.m. at night. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why?
It's nuts.
There's no reason for this.
I remember one of my old guitar players, and they still live up there in Vancouver area. But when we had a band, we would rehearse usually in Portland, but every once in a while we'd go hang out.
Yeah, because you came into Trusty once or twice. You happened to be in Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
we'd go hang out there, and you're not kidding. Like, once you're already in Vancouver, whatever you want to do for the night, all day,
Yeah.
all night, whatever, that's totally fine. But as soon as you hop that river, it's just a different story. Like, immediately, it's you're screwed. You're wrapped up in traffic and bullshit. It's
Yeah.
I swear it's like from now it's about Aurora. It used to be Wilsonville, which I know is right there, but basically Aurora on I-5 all the way up till Vancouver now
It
is.
seems like it starts at the outlet mall in Woodburn too. I mean,
Mhm.
you
Oh
can
yeah,
get bad
sometimes
there.
sometimes it does. Yeah, it's crazy.
We were in Vancouver for Slipknot a couple weeks ago.
Oh, at the amphitheater.
Yeah, the RV. What's it called?
RV style.
Yeah.
And we were 5 or 6 miles away, so we Ubered, and that was some of the worst traffic I've been in because
Yeah.
everyone's fighting to get off that exit.
Yes.
And so you're just sitting there getting charged for it, and I want to just jump out on the freeway, but
Oh, that
They
is.
weren't gonna let
And
us.
since I live up there, there's back roads, country roads to the east where you can come in to that same. If you're going north and you get off that exit where the amphitheater is, and everybody's turning left, but then if you take a right on that road, just maybe 100 feet down is a gravel pullout. So I will come in from the east and just park my car there and then walk. So when I come back, I can just keep going east. I don't even have to deal with the freeway.
that's
Yeah.
the way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I just
absolutely.
found a new trick. I don't know if we told you this, but we've been telling everybody, especially folks like us coming from the south.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known this years ago, and I don't know how long they've been doing it, but I saw like a ton of concerts this summer at Ridgefield, and we found out about this 99th Street Transit Center. And
Oh.
if you drive to the 99th Street Transit Center in Vancouver, you get a shuttle or a bus. For sometimes it's free, sometimes it's like $5 a head. But they'll take you right from the transit. You park your car, free parking, all that good stuff. They'll take you right from there to the show. They'll drop you off at the gates behind the stage.
Yeah.
So there's no line ever to get in.
Right.
And then when you're leaving, you come back to the same gate, so you don't have that big giant line out, and you're not walking out with the entire crowd out of the venue. It's right behind the stage. You walk to where they dropped you off at. That line to go home's a little bit of a line, but still nothing like it is if you were to drive through the main entrance. And they take you back to the 99th Street Transit Center, and from there, there's never traffic to get on I-5,
Yeah.
and boom, you're home. You're gone. It's the best thing ever. I'll never do it any different. I'll never drive straight to the venue anymore.
It's almost better than the $50 Uber ride.
Almost.
So when we left there, I'm like, we got to get away from this place to get an Uber,
Yeah.
or you're never gonna get one. So we start walking, and then we probably walked like a mile, and the kids were starting to. I think my youngest was starting to. Her feet were hurting or whatever. So,
Yeah.
But we're walking, and I see like emergency, like a service. It was like maybe the ambulance or whatever it was, pull up in front of us, and then I start seeing there was a couple cars. Looks like there was a wreck, and we start getting closer, and it looked like someone rear-ended someone, and we're like, oh shit! Like 3 cars were involved, and as we're walking past it, finally these cops had got there, and I just hear them kind of being all rowdy, and so we kind of started to kind of put some shit together. But I walk a little further, and this guy's like he's maybe 30 feet from the cops, and he's puking over the guardrail.
Oh.
And as we walk past him, we can just smell it. I'm like, I don't know who was driving, but you walk through those people, and it just smelled like alcohol, like really bad. And people were like trying to avoid the cops and people were trying to talk to the cops. So it's like
Is that coming back from Slipknot?
those were all people that were at Slipknot.
Oh yeah,
100%.
okay, yeah.
So it looks like one car ran into another car, and then there's like their buddy there, and we're like, we're trying to walk past, and they don't even see it. They're all hammered. Like I couldn't
Was that
find
on
a sober person.
the main road that runs by the gas station,
So if you,
by the underpass or overpass?
it's the one that goes parallel going south from there, parallel to the
Yep.
freeway.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
I know what road you're talking about. Yep.
So we just walked down there until we got closer to just in the neighborhood and sat on some bricks and then got the Uber, which was $14 to get home, and it was
Of course.
$50 to get there.
Of course.
Jesus.
So it was,
Yep.
Yeah, dude. From now on, next time, Trans Center. Just
well,
let me
that
know.
was
I'll
what
tell you about it.
Deidre was doing, and Mel wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would just rather Uber from the hotel. So
Yeah.
I heard about it, 16 or 17 times. So
Well, but in your
I
case,
told you.
But in your case, though, I mean, it might not have been any different for you because you guys were staying in a hotel. That was a big difference because.
Well, we could have parked there and then.
Well, I guess that's true because because
that's what she wanted us to do.
Okay, so if you park there, okay, that makes sense. So, well, hey, now you know. It was one of those things. I was sketchy about
she'll
it.
win next time.
I found out about it because was it I think Sammy Hagar or something. They threw it in a day of email saying, "Hey, blah blah blah, day of things, reminder about the show. Just so you know, Live Nation has shuttles that will take you if you don't want to, do parking, and they'll take you from 99th Street Transit Center to the venue." And I never tried it before. I was skeptical, thinking, okay, whatever. Like, what's this going to cost? And it's only $5 a person. It's worth the risk. Let's find out, because I knew I was already seeing all these shows throughout the summer. I was like, maybe I found a hack. And we went there, and Deidre was there, Josh was there. We all tried it. And we're like, dude, what? This is how many years have we been going out to see concerts at this venue?
And
It's
dealing
our
with it.
amphitheater, and never knew about this. And maybe it hadn't been going on I don't think it had been going on for forever, but I think once Live Nation really took over a lot of a lot of all the shows.
Is their shuttle, you
and
said?
Ticketmaster. Yeah, so I think they usually sponsor it. What I found out when we went to Slipknot, I think on the weekends, the Live Nation will have their own, like, it'll be like a giant, it'll look like a big Greyhound bus, but even bigger and nicer, like a kind of tour bus that has Greyhound seats in it, or they'll have like 4 or 5 shuttles, right?
Yeah.
Or you might get in one that looks like the first one we were in was like a party bus with all
Okay.
the music
Yeah.
and the lights and
Yep.
shit, and the only thing was missing was a stripper pole. But
so they must contract with local car companies to do that, because it wasn't like it was C-Trans. Like
No,
public trans.
there was. I can't remember the name of the company. They do contract with a local limo service.
Okay.
That has the big shuttles, the party shuttles, and then when it's on a weekday, I think it is. They were telling us that the city transit, they contract with them, and that's why it's free. But the city transit will still do the pickup drop off for you to the venue. So it's not like.
But
you
obviously they're
catch a bus.
probably they're paying C-Trans when they do that.
Yeah, exactly. So so depending on if it's a weekend or a weeknight, it depends on if you're going to get that limo service shuttle or the transit bus. But either way, it worked out. We did both of them, and I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna, unless I pay for RV parking, we bring an RV and spend the night there. I'm never gonna go drive all the way to the venue.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah, my friends just did it for Lainey Wilson. Was it last weekend?
But they got an RV and stayed there.
Yeah, they had an RV. So
Is it? Do they have hookups, or you just?
No.
But you
as
have
far
it
as
ready,
I know, I
it's
went to
got
RV
water
park.
it's got water in the tank to drink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're going to
just
be there for
sleeping
just
in
the
it.
night,
Yeah.
know. But you don't have to drive anywhere. You tailgate, you party.
Yeah.
We did it with Rommel one time in the Winnebago. And we went there. It was his dad, my dad, and him and me went to actually see Sammy Hagar, not this year, but last year, the year before, Sammy Hagar and George Thorogood. And we tailgated. We got there early, got the RV parking. It was way cool. And there was tons of other cars that were doing the same thing. And I mean, not even RVs, but they paid the RV fee so they can go park and party basically in the parking lot.
And then just
you're away
sleep
from
in their
everybody
car.
I don't know if that's what they did, because there was tons of RVs too, but I think they might have also done it as well because you're kind of segregated from the rest of the other parking spots, and you get in, and at least that year you can get in and out
Oh.
easy. You have a different access
Oh, okay.
to get in and out because you're driving that big rig or whatever. If
Yeah,
you bring
yeah.
an RV, so you didn't have to go through all the bullshit in the line to bumper to bumper while you're getting in and out. I mean, a little bit, but nothing like it was if you're driving a regular passenger
Yeah,
car.
and they'll obviously sell you an RV pass even if you have a car.
Yeah, they're like, hey,
Okay,
we're
whatever.
making it's money, so
We bought a VIP pass. It was for the VIP parking for Mudvayne. Not obviously not near as many people for Mudvayne as Slipknot, but you just kind of went in. You were in your own spot, and it was like a section that was closer. And I thought that was pretty cool. And we were talking about doing that again, but I think the bus is the route to go. A little shuttle.
Were Mudvayne and Slipknot both this summer?
No, Mudvayne was
last summer, wasn't it?
last summer or was it
Last
summer?
year.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, and I was supposed to go to that show, and I'm pissed I didn't go to that show. I got sick. I had a ticket for it, like up close.
Pulled
Oh.
Brenda.
I pulled a Brenda and freaking missed it. I was also supposed to go to Lainey Wilson last Sunday.
Yeah, that was just
Or
last weekend.
Last
right?
weekend, yes, but I had I paid for the ticket, so
I don't even know what she sings.
Country.
you don't know what Lainey Wilson? You
I
haven't
don't know.
heard?
Sing one of her songs.
Oh,
Have you heard of her? Heart
I've
Like
heard
a
the name. I can't think of a song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can't.
well, her big one was "Heart Like a Truck" a couple years ago or whatever. But she has a handful of them. I mean, she's everywhere now. She's really awesome. I think she's awesome. I mean, she's hotter than shit too. But that's what brought me in. And she always I watch interviews with her too, especially when she first made it big. Was her big dump truck, her big ass is basically what she was
Oh
calling.
God,
it.
there's so
That's
much.
what she calls
She's
it.
like, yeah, she's like, hey, if my booty brings them in and they stay for the music, I'm happy. I don't care.
Yes.
Because she had a very big back stair or dump truck there going on. She was on. You ever watch Yellowstone, the show when it was on? Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
She's on the last season of it.
She's
as,
on-
as an
yeah.
ancillary character. Like actually, one of the cowboys one of the
okay,
cowboys
the guy
falls
that
for her.
sings, the
Yeah.
cowboy who sings. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Well, there's a
prison guy.
cowboy that sings. Brian Bingham. He's amazing. I don't know if you checked out his actual music's really good. But then there's the
Just one of the regular
one of the
cowboys.
cattle hands ends up being her. They have a thing because she's on there. I can't remember. She performs on the show
Yeah,
too.
she plays a singer and was performing at some events at the ranch or something.
And yeah, and
that's how
Or
they
she's
met.
at a bar or the bar in town or something when they first saw her. Or...
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
no, you're right. There wasn't a first event,
Yeah.
and then she's playing in the bar too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I
she's
remember.
blowing up. She's fucking, she's the next. Well, she's already she like wins all the country awards, all the music awards. I mean, she's up there. I mean, her and Jelly Roll, and I
Yeah.
mean, there's a handful of people right now. They're just like the upper echelon. I mean, shit, even Post Malone right now is one of the top country artists of all time. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
all becoming
it all.
blurred.
yeah. No, the lines are so blurred. Which, hey, whatever works for music, in my opinion. Like,
Hey,
do you
Kid
do-
Rock did it first.
right? That's true.
He did it all.
That's true. You grabbing a beer?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take another one.
What I was going to say was, you need to make sure you haven't said 100% yet, so you need to do that more often.
Oh yeah. Hey, maybe I learned my lesson.
100%. Were you saying that last time?
Yeah, that was that.
That's your slogan.
Remember how when we had our podcast, there was always like either a catchphrase, slogan, or the topic of the night. Like just by the end of the podcast, I feel like we would usually laugh about what kept coming up.
Oh yeah.
There was always I feel like almost everyone unplanned something would come up. I got one right there on the yep. I feel like
Besides
there's
Rommel. was
yeah.
always the thing.
Besides Rommel, there's a few of them, but like usually there was always like a key point or something that we'd laugh about how one of us talked or the guest talked or said something or whatever. We would always come back to kind of like I don't know, comedians would call it like a callback or something. There was that a lot at our old podcast. We'd laugh about it, and for when Ken and I were doing this. And it's probably a product of me watching. I don't know. It was Bert Kreischer that says
it a lot.
It was Bert. Was watching podcasts with Bert and watching all of his stand up, and so yeah, I didn't realize it till I went back and watched it. I said 100% like every fucking forward.
100%.
Because I've listened back to that one several times, and I didn't notice until you mentioned it. I was like, gosh damn, it's 100%, 100%.
See, bastard caught me after years of not even think. I don't know. I was when you talked about being a little nervous because you haven't did a podcast besides ours. Well, that was the first podcast I've done since ours several years ago, and even before that, if I was on anybody else's podcast, it was like band situation. I was there with bands, so it was more like a formal interview kind of thing. Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but again, I always tell people we'd be doing the same thing if we were just sitting at a Starbucks having coffee. We're just talking, and there happens to be a microphone in front of your face. That's kind of the vibe of. I think I sent you some links like last year when I was trying to book you, but I don't know if you ever actually had time to listen to them.
No, I listened to some of yours.
Oh, so you kind of get the vibe. You know what I'm going
I did,
for.
but I didn't know if there's going to be a theme or.
Again, it's
I
and
only listened to a
we
couple.
haven't even we've kind of touched on it, but it's about hearing your origin story. We did a
Yeah.
deep dive on Taurens last time, and that's why I was asking about where you grew up and family and all that stuff. Because see, you both have kids. That's why I'm doing this. So 50 years from now, when you guys are gone and your kids want to hang out with their parents, they can watch the podcast. That's the point of it.
I think that's a really great idea because I
yeah.
think most people aren't thinking about it like that. They're thinking, oh, what's going to be the best way to get listeners or people to really care, pay attention, blah, blah, blah. But I remember you telling me your idea from day one was like, if that happens, great and cool. But correct me if I'm wrong, you started out so way you'd have documented these things for the
Yeah.
family members to watch and
so that each person, your family that are kids and whoever generations that come, instead of just hearing anecdotal stories from people that knew you, they can hear you tell your story about yourself. And my dad passed away almost a year ago, New Year's Eve, and so on the flight back, because I was trying to get my flight changed to get back there before he went, but I missed it by a few hours. But anyway, I remember waiting in the Seattle airport, and I just pulled because I got to record with him about a year before he died, so I could just hang out with my dad whenever I want. It's fucking cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you guys are young enough; you can have tons of material to annoy your kids with, so that they can get overexposed to dad.
Yeah, and then you're right. And then if me and Brendan ever dig into the archives of the inappropriate podcast we used to do,
I
when
don't
they're
think it was
when they're
inappropriate.
adults, it depends on the podcast you listen to.
Yeah, there's a couple went off the rails, and that was part of the problem for me going back through and listening and messing with it. I would hear just myself, and I hated it. Like,
When you say go off the rails, was it just vacuous, dirty, meaningless topics were discussed, or some of the guests got too drunk, or what happened?
No, I think it's probably just the things that would come out of our. Honestly, if you compare it to what's online now, especially with everybody that's doing podcasts,
Yeah.
it's no more inappropriate than some of the shit that's already out there.
Right.
But
So there was adult language and adult content, but you were just, if I
it was
remember right,
silly shit on some of them.
yeah, you were
Real
just
silly.
kind of hanging with people.
inside and
if I remember
inside
right,
with-
or
With
did he?
Tom Ashley and Justin, like
Yes.
that one.
I love that's one of
We
my
were just
favorite.
riffing about the stupidest shit. I don't even remember what it was, but
That might make the best content.
well,
It-
no, I
I
like
think
that
it
one. It
did.
was fun.
I think it
The
did.
ones that are like the ones that keep me up at night is the ones where you try to, because Tauren would just do all the serious talking, and I just wait to say some stupid fucking joke.
Yeah,
and,
you were almost like Jamie, Rogan's producer, in the background.
Yeah,
and you would chime in every now and then.
Yeah, I would hide behind the laptop, and I would chime in if I thought I could say something funny. And with one of our guests, the guy that sounded like Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah, Matt
Oh, that's right. I
And-
remember.
Jacobs.
I just remember on that podcast, like, I was swinging a lot, and I was just whiffing. I would just miss. And I remember trying to do a couple jokes, and, like, it was falling flat, or he didn't find them funny at all. And I remember he said something, and he just looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, I think there's a joke there somewhere." I was like, ooh, he just shot me down. And I just remember, like, he probably never thought about it again. And I'll just, like, be laying in bed, like, what the fuck? Why?
I don't remember
why did
it
I say
going like that.
Yeah,
I
no,
wonder if
you-
that's one of those things where maybe maybe it did, and I just it's so many years ago. But
Just in my own head about it.
I think that's probably what it was because I remember us having such a good time on that one too with him because he was a guy. What was the name of his damn podcast? Not to get sidetracked, but he was the guy also. Alloy Metal Podcast.
Okay.
So he was this was actually back in 2008, 2007 ish.
He was recording a podcast back then. That's like
Yeah.
he's like a plank owner of podcast almost.
That's what I'm saying. He was a local guy, well, from Eugene, and he would do a local music, local metal, and that's how we got affiliated because I was in a band at the time. So he was my introduction to not only being on a podcast, but even to listening to podcasts. And so it only was fitting one day. I was like, dude, we got to get this guy on because you know, this is the guy that got me. I didn't know what the hell a podcast was until he was like, "Hey, you want to be on my podcast?" I'm like, "What the fuck's a podcast?"
And was he using some of the original entry level software? Do you know how he was recording it and distributing it?
I know I was recording it. I don't know what host or what he used to get it online. It's probably some ancient dinosaur thing, or who knows, maybe it's something still out there. But he was literally, it was all audio. I don't know if he eventually got to video because his podcast actually got pretty known, at least locally throughout the Northwest.
Yeah.
And he was it springboarded him into being a show promoter.
Okay.
And all that stuff.
Yeah, go ahead and let him in.
Sorry. Yeah, come in.
Is it locked?
Nope.
Hello, come on in.
Oh, hi. Oh, hey, sorry, yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me go get Katie real quick. Oh, there she is. Oh.
Wait, I have the gift in the kitchen.
Nice to meet you. I'm Tauren. I'm Katie's dad.
Oh, I'm Soleil. I've heard so much about
Oh,
you.
nice to meet you, Soleil. Yes.
Oh,
I forgot about the whole Katie leaving thing.
Gosh, you're so grown up. Can I hug you? Yes. How have you been? Sweet to see you. I'm good.
Have fun, bud.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
I think I got everything, my phone charger, the present, and my backpack.
All right, guys. That's it? Okay. All right, love you. Have a good time. Have a good trip. You guys be safe. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
you so
my
much,
pleasure.
Bye.
Yeah, see, so that's the on-the-fly stuff right here. Like you said,
Yeah,
not
well,
produced.
and last time
I forgot about that.
You
That was
had
even happening.
was it an uncle that was living with you last time that came down
Yeah,
briefly?
yeah, my Uncle George, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not living with you anymore?
No, he does.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he's up there. He's like, I'm gonna go hide because I already told him about what I was doing, but I forgot that Katie was getting a ride tonight. I just assumed she's usually the kind of person that, you know, I don't know, maybe it's a teenage thing. They'll monitor as soon as someone's gonna show up, and they'll be outside waiting for me.
Oh, right.
They don't want anybody to beat Dad. So, so that,
I don't think that's it.
I definitely. They've told me. I thought it was going to be Deidre and Rylan because Rylan's going to get dropped off at some point tonight.
Well, they
too.
wouldn't knock.
But they wouldn't knock, and that's what
Yeah.
threw me off. And so I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said come in. And as soon as I did, I was like, but yeah, but whatever. Anyways, back to Matt.
yeah, when he was using some kind of
He was
early
just using a
software.
freaking to record the podcast. It's all audio. And we'd usually meet at a public place, like a bar or something, in the back of a bar or whatever, or on the RV or the bus, you know, at a show, because he would like to go to the shows and interview all the bands and stuff.
Yeah.
But he'd use one of those little Tascam hand recorders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
what he
was
would
it?
use, and the audio sounded great. For what it was, it sounded
Right.
great. And I don't know how he. I mean, I know he had some type of hosting, this and that, obviously, and he uploaded it. You know how you would anything you would record off a Tascam hand recorder.
The Tascam hand recorder, was that something you could plug external mics into, or it just had a built-in mic?
It had built in. I don't know if you could plug in external. I don't think so because I've never seen him do it. And maybe you could, maybe one.
Okay.
But it has kind of. I don't know if you remember the way they look like that. There's little bug antennas. There's little round silver microphones that would come out and almost look like an arrow.
So it's almost like a condenser studio mic. Did it have a big halo to pick up everything around
It
you?
didn't.
Or?
But the way that they built them, it was the best quality you can get for something that's portable as that. So a lot of musicians that would sit there and try to, they're writing songs or composing a song on the fly and they want to remember it later and go record it.
Yeah.
They could sit it down and record their song and track it, and then maybe I don't know which one he had. There's different levels where you can multi-track, but yeah, he just uses that handheld recorder, and we would, a lot of times we sitting around a table or something around. There'd be 4 or 5 of us talking, and you could hear everybody.
It would pick everybody up.
Pretty
clean.
Yeah, I mean, it would be sitting like right here on this ottoman and be picking us up. It was pretty nuts, and it didn't really pick up. You'd think, okay, well, it's going to pick up everybody, all the background noise in the bar or whatever, because we used to do it at the Spirit all the time. No, not too much. I mean, if it was real loud, yeah, but not really. That's how he did it.
And then he was obviously able to upload the digital file from that to a laptop and do whatever he's going to do.
And then exactly throw it online. And I remember he was telling me, man, how much he had to pay a month for that. It was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
It was a big deal. Yeah. It was like, so he was doing it as his.
Was on his website, so he'd pay for his own RSS feed or whatever and host.
Probably was, because he did have a website that he was always on top of and updating as well.
Because he was doing like a radio show.
Yeah, it was basically, because he was doing like a radio show, an internet radio.
Yep.
And
So it was
then
early on.
it was very early on. But springboarded him. He was like ended up working for. It was on our podcast, but he ended up working for I think it was Roadrunner Records or some record label based out
yeah.
of Portland, like a big name record label.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Wow.
What band were you in when he interviewed you?
still dead.
It was Never Kill on Sight, just still dead?
Nope,
Okay.
still dead. Yep, that's how they found out about us from at a show playing down in Springfield or Eugene, one of those two. I think it was Goodfellas, to be honest with you. I could be wrong. It might have been Eugene, but I think it was Goodfellas. And him and his brother would go to local metal shows, and they were just really into it, and they loved the band and said, "Hey, we're these guys. We want to start a metal podcast for local music and try to help them out and get an internet radio going." And he did, and they would play local metal
Okay.
on the internet radio that they had.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really awesome.
And you got to meet him at least. Well, obviously because he was on your podcast.
Yeah, I think was he on more than once?
I think he was only on one time on the podcast, but I thought hadn't you met him before that through the band shit?
Yeah, I'm sure I saw him around.
shows
But that was
and
like the
stuff?
first time I talked to him. Or maybe I didn't, because you were like, his voice gonna sound familiar, or I don't know, or maybe I just saw him around. I can't remember.
Yeah. A lot of people say, and I agree with him. He sounds a lot like Seth Rogen when he
Okay,
talks.
so he's
and
the
he
one that
laughs.
sounded like Seth Rogen. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So
He
that
was
was
funny.
good.
He was very funny.
Oh, super funny. He's awesome. Him and his brother Ben is who he did the podcast with. But yeah, he was hilarious.
And he brought that Shoshone guy.
Oh yeah, was Shoshone on the
jiu-jitsu guy.
was on the podcast?
Yeah.
That's right, the jiu-jitsu guy. Yeah,
That's why I thought he might have been on more than once.
Yeah, I'm wondering. You know what? I think he might have been on twice, because I feel like there was a time when it was him there, and his wife was there. She wasn't on the podcast, but she showed up with him.
And he was talking about his board games.
About
and
his
stuff.
board games, and then another time I feel like we were talking about the old Alloy days,
Yeah.
and it was with
Yeah.
Shoshone because his buddy Mike Shoshone also worked for Alloy Podcast and would help him out. It's kind of the third dude in the operation.
Okay.
And hello,
Wow, Deeds, it's
Everybody
been a
showed
long
up.
time. It's good to see you.
you're now on the podcast.
Sit down, Deidre. You're up.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
jump on Mike.
It's right here.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I love the random encounters.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, that's right. Keeping it interesting.
Bye.
Have a good night. Don't party too hard with your parents.
I'm gonna go take some cold medicine and pass out.
I love it. Do it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. All kinds of history walking in and out of this door
That
tonight.
is so cool, man. And even driving down here today, because the last time I was down here was last year when we recorded. You know, I just have no reason to come down this far.
Your old stomping grounds, that's right.
Well, seriously, yeah, because I mean, I lived here from 1990 until 99 when I moved to Bend. So, you know, went to school here, did the cop thing here. Yeah, I have and then obviously living in Salem with Nick for a few years. Yeah, so it was kind of weird. They changed the name of Salem Parkway. I noticed that.
Yep.
And that whole park that's right there, right before you turn to go over the river, that doesn't look good. It's kind of become
Oh yeah. Oh the
river, whatever that park is.
you're talking about the skate park, right?
Yeah.
Right there at the bridge. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's Marion Square. Is it Marion Square
Yeah.
Park? Something like that. It's Marion something Park.
Where? What were we
The
talking
skate park.
about? Oh.
Marion something.
Oh, I was just telling him that because you know I lived
Downtown?
I lived in Monmouth from like 90 to 99. I lived in Salem for a few years. So, but I just never come down to this area anymore, and it's changed a lot.
so much.
Like they changed the name of Salem Parkway,
Yep.
stuff like that. You know.
Oh yeah.
The Lancaster Mall.
Yeah.
It's not even a mall anymore.
Yeah. Have they officially closed it down on the inside?
Oh, is
I
it
think
just
it's
all?
just like outside and.
Is
I
it
know
all
that
kind
was
of
what they're
vacant?
trying.
The businesses are all gone.
It's
I
just
feel
the
like,
exterior
the
businesses.
exterior malls or the shops on the outside.
On the outside, all the
I think-
interior, from what I was told, was if it's not done already, is all shut down on the inside.
I don't know what
Is there
they're
a
doing with it, but
is there a plan for it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's strange. So we spent a lot of time in that mall.
Yeah.
Not just totally something different.
Wow. Because it's right off. Yeah, I know where it's at. There's a movie theater there.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's just
there
right off I-5.
Yeah, and there
Market
used to
Street
be a
exit.
bunch of the big stores. I don't know whether it's Meyer and Frank or something, and then all the regular stores that are going to be on the insides of it. But most of them are kind of gone now.
Yeah, I think yeah, for the most part, like all the small little ones. I don't even think Foot Locker must be gone there now
Wow.
Oh
because it would have to be on the outside.
So they must only have the downtown one then.
I like never go there.
So is that east side of Salem? I guess that's Lancaster that goes north south. Is that right? The main drag.
Yeah.
So is that all just totally different than it used to be? Is the vibrancy of Salem kind of moving more towards downtown or south or?
Lancaster's still crazy busy. as hell.
Lancaster's crazy.
It might be more than ever.
Yeah,
Okay, really?
Yeah.
a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
Is Salem expanding farther east then? More housing developments and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It's and it just like everywhere. If there's fields, like where I used to grow up, there would be a field next to us, and then a forest here.
Yeah.
No more fields, no more forests. It's just all
Either
houses and stuff
houses
now,
or commercial stuff.
Yep. And then I know by even further south, they're going a lot more where the new Costco went by my work. Like in the last couple of years, they put in the new Costco. There's huge warehouses.
Is it a second Salem Costco or they just replaced it?
Replaced it. They're doing a
Wow, I don't even remember hearing about that.
Yep.
And I work at Costco. I was like,
really.
yeah, I've been there for 7 years.
The old Costco now. Is
I knew
gonna
where
be
that was.
A Wonderland.
Oh,
And they're doing like indoor go karts and shit. It looks like it's gonna be cool.
wow.
Oh, is that what they're doing with it now?
Yeah, there's gonna be like. Apparently, it's actual Wonderland. I didn't know.
So
I thought it was gonna be like Wonderland.
Well, because they have well, I know part of it, unless they already closed that down too, is a Harbor Freight.
Yeah, I think
So they're
it's
keeping
just-
Harbor Freight because I know Harbor Freight only took up a portion.
Yeah,
So
it's a huge building.
yeah, huge building. Yeah, because me and my brother go to Harbor Freight there all the time.
So where's the new Costco at?
If you know where the Kubler exit is.
Yeah, that's south of it's the next exit after like 22 Sandiam Highway, right?
Mhm.
The next
Yeah.
one's south.
Yep.
You just get off there and
Get off
go
there,
right,
take a right.
Go west.
So if you're going south, you want to go west?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I would, if I was coming down to go to the rental house that me and Nick lived in, I would take Kubler all the way over Commercial, and it was kind of in a neighborhood down there. But
That's where I live.
okay,
Going
Yeah,
that way.
and the Battle Creek area is where they put in there's a Killer Burger, there's Starbucks, there's
Crumble Cookie,
Crumble,
Wow.
Costco,
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
oh my God,
Oh yeah, that
It used
whole
to be
area that
nothing
used to
there.
be nothing.
yeah.
And that's where my grandparents live, up Battle Creek a little bit, like by Adam Tilner's parents' house. But there's like a bear sighting like a couple months ago. And, like,
Whoa.
Yeah, and there's tons of houses in the area. So I don't know. The wildlife's crazy out in South Salem.
Well, I
There
guess
was-
the houses and everything, the humans are starting to encroach on their environment, I guess. So-
Well, it's like my area. That's what someone was telling me too. They're like, "Yeah, we're moving into their area," and it's like, "Well, my house has been there since the '70s, and there was a bobcat, like 2 houses down in the back of my neighbor's house,
oh, jeez.
and I saw a coyote. It was probably half a year ago
Yeah.
by my house, and then a couple months back there was 2 deer like right in my neighbor's yard when I was trying to go to work. I scared them off. They were eating my neighbor's strawberries. So like all the wildlife out there is insane.
Jeez,
But
man.
I don't know. I just think maybe they're getting more brave and they're going for easy food,
Yeah.
whether they're strawberries or they're cats or something.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there's been over here in this neighborhood in Madrona Park. There's been tons of cat remains showing up throughout the last few months. Tons of reports of different cat remains.
And they think it's a mountain lion.
No, they at first well, and I guess it's still on the table, but they think it's some sick, twisted kid or teenager that has problems or person that's going and mutilating cats. But then the police department just posted today something online about, hey, at this point we still don't know for sure, but we've been putting cameras out there and checking surveillance, and what we think right now is that there's a coyote out there or a wolf that's
Oh, jeez.
getting the cats. So like if you have cats and live around this Madrona Park area, keep them inside for now. You know.
Where is that at from here?
Do you know where the high school is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if you take the high school, that street, not Main Street, but 16th Street's the one that starts heading out of town, like heading south.
Right.
So as soon as you start heading south, it's like your first street on your right. There's a big park over there called Madrona
Okay.
Park. Yeah. It's kind of right as soon as the residential neighborhood hits, right over there.
Yeah, which that when I was living here in the 90s, I don't think there was any houses out there. So I think I know the road you're talking about. There might have been a few random houses that had a bunch of property, but now it's like a housing development.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice big housing development, rich neighborhood.
God, if I could have made it down earlier, I thought about trying to come down way early, not only to beat traffic, but I was just going to go take a tour of like Monmouth and Independence and just see how much it's changed.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, and I'm sure
like
since you
not
were
even-
here.
Oh, it's insane, dude. Gosh, damn. Because I mean, the population is what it was, maybe 6,000 or 7,000 when I was there
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s. I don't know what it's up to now.
Yeah, I think I just looked the other day. It's like 15, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like what? And I feel to me it just still doesn't feel like it's that much. I come from a small town as well, like, but yeah, I mean it's definitely growing. I mean I've been here for 5 years now, about, and I've seen how much it's grown in 5 years. It's crazy.
Yes. Gosh, damn.
Yeah.
You can tell with all the traffic just in the whole area,
Mm-hmm.
just all of Salem and Portland.
Do you work in
everywhere.
the Salem area? You don't have to commute long for work?
No, so I live right by that, or I work right by that Costco, and I live like you were saying where you used to live. If you take Kubler exit going
Going west.
west,
Yep.
like 4 miles,
Nice.
like by Lone Oak and Kubler.
Is that who you work for, excavating?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
K and E or K and F?
K&E,
K and E. I feel like I've seen that before. Are they a local Salem company or?
they're a pretty good sized company. We do a lot of stuff up north.
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen the trucks.
Yeah, they're probably all on the freeway if you're driving around.
I see them all the time,
It's
all
pretty,
up and down.
There's probably 400 people.
And is it mainly like excavating and stuff, or do you also do asphalt?
We own a company called H&H Paving that does asphalt.
Okay.
And then we do a lot of earth moving. Actually, for that Costco, we did all the development of that land. We're doing stuff on I-5. We did the Aurora exit.
Oh, where the truck stops are.
Yeah, we did the one going northbound, and then we did the Woodburn
Hello.
stuff years back. That was probably 7, 8 years ago or something.
So
Or they
so
have
when
that.
somebody like, especially if it's undeveloped land, some business or whatever, or even if it's a housing development, but they say, look, we're either going to put a Costco here, or we're going to put 75 or 100 homes in this housing development. Your company can go in just from the beginning, even if it has trees and rocks and everything, and you can clear it out and excavate it and get it exactly how they want to be able to build on it.
Yep. And then
Okay.
we can turn into a parking lot, and we'll dig out the plumbing and the piping and the electrical and all that stuff. And actually for Costco, it was crazy. They had like 4 historic trees, and one of the deals with that, they didn't want them to build there because of those trees. And they came to the agreement of, well, if you can move and relocate these trees on the property, you can do it.
Oh,
So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's also kind of hippie-ish, but it was cool. We got to do it. Is you would cut like the roots, but leave a big root section, and we would have a giant crane, and you would just, basically cut the tree out and then crane it on the property and then replant it.
because they needed it to be moved if they were going to build the building, but you can
They wanted to preserve the trees,
right,
And
and
then we
they were in
moved
the wrong
them.
place.
and then they died.
Oh, they did?
And they spent, I can't remember how many hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to move the trees or something.
And all of them died?
I think all 3 or 4 we moved. I'm pretty sure. I have to look at them when I drive by. I'm pretty sure they all died.
Oh, that sucks, man.
It was kind of a funny thing.
But they made the effort. Wow. See, you're trying to, you would just try to cut, you want to be able to lift it up where it still has a lot of roots, but obviously at some point you have to cut them.
Yeah, I think it's something like the width of the tree, like above. You want the root system to be
Okay.
equally as big or something. I'm not really sure.
And then you dig another big hole, crane it over to it, drop it in, fill it in, and
Yeah, so my part with the company is I do welding and fabrication.
okay.
So when I was there, I was like cutting holes in beams and being like the welding, cutting support of that operation. But like as far as digging holes, and that's our main thing is moving dirt and digging holes and stuff like that. I don't do much of. I do all the cool fabricating stuff.
And did your company have anything to do with the actual structure of the Costco building, or was it just the ground prep?
No, just the ground, and I don't know if we did the parking lot or not, but
Oh, as far as paving it and concrete curbs, can you do that?
yeah, they do that. We have concrete. I'm not sure if we did that concrete. There's a roundabout there, and there's like a handrail. We built the handrail and had it
Okay.
galvanized and installed and all that stuff. So we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah, the roundabout things seem to be the new craze because the new Costco in Ridgefield just opened at the end of August. Roundabouts
Yeah.
to get in and out. They went crazy with the roundabouts. So the Costco's there, it's open. There's also going to be an In-N-Out Burger right next to it. So they're expecting the traffic to just be stupid up there.
Oh yeah.
And Ridgefield's growing like crazy anyway.
Yep.
But that exit is farther north of the amphitheater. It's like a few more miles up is that exit.
Yeah, they're getting ready to put up a roundabout here on 99, over there by like what's that street that heads off to Dallas? So heading 99 towards 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that first Clow? I think it's Clow. CLOW.
So north of Monmouth on 99?
It's yeah. Well, yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
because did there used to be a stoplight or just a flashing yellow?
Just
there?
flashing.
Flashing
It's
yellow.
what,
and they're
it's
going to
what's
do a
there right
roundabout.
now. They're putting a roundabout right now there.
Yep.
Yep, on 99. Which I was pretty surprised they were going to do that. I mean, I didn't really see that one coming, but that's kind of what they're doing now. Like basically, if you take 99 and start heading all the way up north, especially towards Hillsborough area, there's tons of them. On those on the 99.
Even going through what's up there, Amity?
Yeah, all past so not really any before Amity, but when you go past Gaston, but you just keep going 99 all the way north, like you're going all the way to the Washington. Really,
Yes.
I mean, as soon as you get towards like the Hillsborough area, just tons of them. And it's farm roads, farm highways, but they got roundabouts. Not like there's the one section where you hit 3 or 4 in a row, like within maybe 300 or 400 feet of each other. Just boom.
Are we thinking
boom.
they're more efficient? What's the ruling? Better than a stoplight?
I don't like them, but cranky old man. Bend and Redmond, that whole area has just got a ton of them.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I just saw that when I went to Bend one of the last times, a couple times.
Yeah.
Like what? I didn't realize what long it's been since I've been there. I think I was going to China Hat to ride dirt bikes, and I was like, what the hell?
You get that big one like as soon as you get into Sisters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh gosh, I haven't been through Sisters in probably. I've gone to Bend a lot, but I usually always come in from the north on 97. But so when you first come in, you go past Black Boot Ranch, and you first start getting into Sisters. Now there's a big roundabout on the main road.
I think right by the McDonald's. I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, right
close
after
to
McDonald's. Yep. Wow. Is K&E doing all those big giant rocks and moving those boulders in Bend where they're doing all those roundabouts on the left?
I'm not sure.
I mean, they're a giant earth mover like style, like huge rocks are like bigger than some of those big earth mover trucks that are placed there. And I'm always wondering who's doing that because like they're crazy big.
You just have to look at the equipment and see.
I thought I saw it was K&E. That's why I was asking.
I mean, we have a Caney Redmond. That's what we have a branch over there in the office, and they do a lot.
I thought I saw it was K&E.
It's a good.
It was
it's a
crazy
good
though,
chance
like
it
how
was.
big and how much. Not only how big, but how much. I don't know if you've seen what I'm talking about. It was a patch of rocks for probably a few miles of rock, giant boulders. I mean, as big as this living room. I'm like, it was
So
crazy.
they're removing them.
They look like they're
putting them in?
stacking them there to use for whatever they're getting ready to do. I heard they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff with the roads and the landscape over there in Bend. I think Bend's growing crazy fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it has been, but it's just exponentially every year. I feel like all the people from California.
So what's the eventual retirement plan then? Do you think you guys would ever move for retirement out of the area and go somewhere new? Or have you even talked about it?
We've talked about it. I've always kind of wanted to live somewhere else, but Mel, we have all our family and everything.
Yeah.
Like all my siblings are within a couple miles, and
Oh yeah. How
Like,
many?
I-
We haven't even talked about that. How many brothers and sisters you have?
I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother.
Okay.
But I still have most. Like, I just lost my first grandpa almost a year ago,
Okay.
and I still have the rest of my grandparents are still alive.
Okay. And in the
Being
area
40
for the most
Yeah,
part.
one's
Okay.
real close to my work, and but my grandpa's like 94, still doing pretty good. but-
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
living
it's
living on his own or in
It's
assisted
awesome.
living.
With no, they're on their own.
Okay.
They're by that Costco with my grandma.
Okay.
So it's hard to leave with your, we're pretty tight knit.
I was gonna say, and your family, it sounds like it's got deep roots here in Salem.
yeah, deep roots, and we, it's like the only people I hang out with. My
Other than
family,
Tauren
pretty
and me
much.
occasionally.
I barely hang out with Tauren.
I was gonna
anymore.
say it's like the first time, other than at the
Yeah, I see him at a
concert.
show. Yeah,
Me and Brendan. Yeah, no, we don't hang out very often anymore.
yeah. The last
sadly.
2 times been at shows, which,
Yeah,
which is still every other month or something. I'll see you for something, but
yeah. It's not
But-
years in between, but
and we're older. We're not partying, and
Right.
I'll see his kid more than I see him.
Yep.
Youngest, I'll see Ryland. They're
That's
friends with
hilarious.
my youngest daughter.
That's
so
awesome.
and they live pretty close.
And is
Yeah.
Mel working?
she's getting ready to start at the hospital Monday.
Oh, really? Was that like she already has done that in the past?
Nope. It's right up kind of what she's done, like caregiving type stuff.
Or? Okay.
So it's like a support position for the nurses and
Oh,
stuff.
so was she more of doing the stay-at-home mom thing until recently?
Yeah. She ended up losing her job around COVID.
Okay. Yeah,
'cause she
like
didn't
a
wanna
lot
be
of people did.
Forced to get the vaccine, so
Yeah. Right.
she just opted to stay home. So
Okay, but that
now she's
worked.
Getting back to the workforce.
And then the kids are 18 and 16.
13 and 16.
Sorry, 13 and 16. Why did I?
I had a
think
nephew that was 18.
One of yours. Is
yeah,
18.
one
Yeah.
of mine's 18.
Yes.
Yep.
So 13 and
we're old.
16, and I can't remember. Boy and a girl.
Girl.
Oh, what's that like? A lot of estrogen in that household.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it. I mean, we had a girl dog, and then so we had to get a boy dog. But
Oh, that makes up for it.
Makes
I
everything
haven't
all
really known any different. I mean, I had my nephew living with us for like 3 years, so that balanced it out for a little bit. But they say the girls are crazy, but I'd say he's crazier than the girls. So
Yeah.
the-
Yeah. Well, as long as you just accept the fact that you're always wrong. So.
wow, that's a given. No, it's funny to see which kid is more like me and which is more like Mel, and
Oh, because there is a difference, right?
there's 100% a difference, and it just how you can raise them the same way, but they're totally different kids. Like Parker's more, my youngest is like more preppy, and she's got her like shit together. If she has like homework, and chores, she has to come home and get it done right away, or I'll bug her.
Okay.
I gotta get my chores done, and she'll like make my lunch and like.
Very
she'll-
task oriented.
yes,
Likes
and
to have a routine and a plan.
she can't relax until it's done. The other kid will be like, well, I'll just forget about it and I'm going to take a nap. And then the next day I have to do double chores
Yep.
and get yelled at by my mom. And so they're just totally 2 different people. But
Oh, that's
All my kids are
hilarious.
like the second one. They're just gonna wait and try not to do it and bitch about it. Maybe put it off till the next day.
all of them.
All of them. Not one of them wants to be like, oh my god, I got to get chores done so that way I can do whatever the hell I want when I'm done and just get out of the way. None of them are like that. Well, I'll say this: my oldest was like that for a long time, and now she is really busy. And as she's gotten older, she's like that with other aspects in her life, with school, homework, and her actual job.
Yeah.
But now the back burner is daily chores at home. So
Yeah.
that's I don't give a shit, that kind of thing.
well, when they
Whatever.
get their own job and everything, it's a little.
It's a little harder. She
Yeah.
is an adult, and I get that. But I'm also too. You're living in my house for free, so. Which I told her, as long as you go into school, hey, it's great. I have no problem with that. She's amazing. She's going to graduate with honors this year. Like she's kicking ass.
Nice.
So I couldn't be more grateful and blessed. But but I was like, at the same time, they're, clean up after yourself while you're here. I mean, like, there's a couple other things that you should probably learn if you want to go out in the real world. Just got a boyfriend.
It's a good thing they'll
last
probably
couple
never
years.
listen to this podcast, so I don't have to edit all this out.
No, I would hope you wouldn't edit it out anyways. I hope I'm going to make her watch it.
I got something for you to listen
Yeah,
to.
exactly. So, but yeah, no, none of the other kids, they don't. It's always tooth and nail. The one thing I've kind of done recently that I think, we'll see how well it works, is since my oldest has been working so much outside of still going to school and getting amazing grades, is I offered my middle child, Cameron, weekly allowance, but she has to pull the lion's share with the chores.
Okay.
I was like, hey, you're going to get consistent money coming in, blah, blah, blah. So you also got to take more work on.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you're not going to get paid. I mean, so.
Real world stuff.
Yep. I was like, let's see if I can make this a little bit better now. I went through I'm learning by each kid. As it trickles down, I'm like learning from the one before what to do and what not to do.
By the time the last one hits 18, you'll have it figured out.
Yeah, probably not, but.
Last one, who said he's done?
Bullshit. Hopefully.
Oh, you got snipped.
Yeah, doctors down at Willamette Urology say, or else it's a lawsuit, motherfuckers.
I'm sure you signed something that says you can't sue them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
I almost guarantee it. Yeah, in fact,
sure
they
you
do.
did.
They tell you. They're like, yeah, this is not 100.
99.9.
Yeah, 99 point. Yeah, like everything else. This is not for surefire. The only thing, what was it? Abstinence is the only fucking thing that's 100% guaranteed not to have kids.
Is the right, yeah, abstinence.
Yeah, but fucking just get old and single and out of shape, and you don't have to worry about any of that. You have the abstinence all day long, every day. So. Going 4 years strong, baby. 4 years strong, no scares, no cares.
Single for 4 years.
Yeah, isn't that crazy, huh?
Doesn't feel like that long. That's insane.
God, has it
It does
been
to
that
me.
long?
Wait, how old is Jackson?
He's going to be 9 in January. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, in a couple months, he's going to be 9 years old, my youngest.
That's insane.
Where's Brittany at? Where's she living?
She lives in St. Helens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know where
She's
that's
still fighting fires and stuff?
Yep. She's got done fighting fires this summer, and she's getting ready to leave in January to go get her EMT certs. She's going to go, I think, Wyoming for like half a month.
Okay.
Well, tell her to get her fucking ass over to China Hat and put that shit out.
Dude, I'm telling her, like, all the places I want to go riding, like, those are priority, all right? I know. You run this whole thing, right?
You're all Camp 2, Road 500.
Yeah.
Don't let our camping spots burn down.
That's right. Damn it. Or else I'm not watching Jackson. That's just all there is to it. You got to figure it
You're
out.
not going to babysit your own child?
Nope.
That's all I got to babysit tonight.
Sorry,
you
son.
mean hang out with your own kids?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I can't see you for a while. Your mom won't get her shit together.
Oh, my God.
Nah. Yeah, but so she's doing all that. I think she eventually wants to work for a local fire department up there, and she's doing good up where she is. And I get it. I know she doesn't want to leave from what she's got going on up there, just like I don't want to leave from what we have going on here in this small little town. But it just sucks how far away it is.
Yeah.
That part sucks.
Yeah, because there's no easy way to get there from here. You just
No.
have to go up the freeway.
Well, and we, to avoid the freeway, because I do that at all costs, it's a little bit longer on average, but we go up through 99 and just we meet in Gaston.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
It's more, on a map, it's a straight shot, but it's all highway road.
Right.
And you have all the slowdowns to the small towns. So
Yeah.
technically it takes a little bit longer, but it doesn't take longer if there's 5 o'clock traffic
Yeah.
or one accident.
I was going to say,
it could take way longer on
it's
I-5.
a better drive. It's more relaxing than
Oh,
being
yeah.
stuck on the freeway and bumper to bumper.
Oh yeah, my stress level is
Yeah.
immediately, it's 10 times better.
And at
if
least you have some better scenery to look at on the drive up.
Yep, exactly. And if you need to stop. There's plenty of places to stop. You're not, held hostage on I-5 and bumper to bumper
Yeah,
traffic.
in between exits, yeah.
Yeah, and you stop, you want to go grab something to eat, drink, coffee shop, go piss, whatever. It's like, you can do that. You're on a 2-lane highway.
Yeah. How long you been with K&E then?
10 years in March.
And is it a union job or but they have benefits, retirement, stuff like that? So you're gonna put in at least another 20?
Oh,
What's the ballpark?
Well, looking at the economy and my financial situation, I'll work till I'm dead, I'm sure.
Same.
Unless I win the lottery.
Come on, there has to be an end game.
Not right now. It's just
once
working.
you get your 30 in there, then just take your pension and get a part-time job at Costco for the insurance, for the medical benefits. You still get incredible full benefits even if you're only part-time.
So I've done, God, it's been 20 years since I've done where I've had to deal with customers. So I am the way I am for,
You could get a morning stocking position. You don't really have to deal with
I
them.
can't talk to people.
I know.
I'd get fired. I used to do it, Cinnabon and other places where I could talk to customers, but
You're over it now.
I can't.
I hear you because I kept going even longer after you, and that was the one thing when we were talking about it before we started this podcast up. My next job is like, it's going to be very, very non or little customer oriented at all.
Yeah.
Just of all the years, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yep.
of all the years of doing, that was my specialty, really. I mean, that's what we did, and Brendan did for many years, especially as we were growing up and younger and kind of getting our feet wet and moving up through the ranks. And I think it's not just that. It is the burnout from all the years and knowing what we don't want to do. But customers and people have gotten worse over the years. So bad. So bad.
I feel like that is true, but I also wonder if we just have less patience.
Well, I think
Maybe it's
both are probably true, but I think what I've seen outweighs even in the last handful of years. I would say even from around COVID time and since then. In my line of work, because at that time I was doing customer service basically over the phone, and it's just, and I don't, I guess I can't really blame them all the way because so much has changed in life with the cost of living and bills and affording a decent life. Like I really feel people are less happy for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
And that's gonna, of course, if you're working at a place that sells things and costs money and puts more of a damper or a pressure on that, more of a financial stress on what they're doing, you're going to be the one that's getting the brunt end of it.
Yeah. Also feels like there's a greater sense of entitlement among the average citizen.
Well, I think younger folks as
yes,
well. That
definitely.
part I've seen it not only with my kids. I've seen it with kids that go to school, their friends. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I was when we were younger, and even our parents before us, that shit was a lot different.
Yeah.
That whole entitlement thing and kind of getting away with what a lot of these kids are doing now. I don't want to sound like this old, this old grandpa that, back in my day, 1935. And, I get it. Times are changing, and I think overall for the best. But still, I think there's a little bit of a balance that maybe could have been weighted a little bit better to some of the entitlement, maybe lack of respect for other people and humans. That's going on. I think a lot of it has to do with technology and internet. I think that's really what a lot of it comes from.
100%.
Yeah, there we go. It's back.
Yeah, way to throw it in for you.
Yeah, see, that's what Brendan was perfect at doing on the podcast. Yeah, he always.
I don't know about perfect.
No, he was the entertainment in the podcast. I was the nervous guy and just trying to keep a conversation.
So Brendan
going.
would bring
Well,
the
that's the
levity.
hard part. You would just keep it going, and I would just try to find something funny.
Yeah, he says that's the hard part. That's the part I can't do. I can't do it, how he would do it. That's why we've talked about it on and off throughout the years about doing another podcast, this and that. And I've wanted to do it. I've thought about doing it to the point because I have all the stuff I can do it myself.
Yeah, and the entry cost is so much cheaper. You already have most of it you need, but then as far as like the software and the hosting platforms, everything is lower cost.
Yeah.
This is an open source software; it's free. So
yeah, and that's why I've talked about wanting to get back into it. But the more I think about it, it's like I'd rather have somebody that we feed off each other very well and complement each other,
right?
And keep it not just. I mean, I can interview people, I'm sure, just fine, and obviously get better at it. But the entertainment aspect, make it fun, not just for whoever's watching, but for me too. I had more fun.
Yeah.
Because there was like a podcast or two where Brendan couldn't make it when we had it.
Oh, and it was just you.
And it
with
was
the guests,
and it was not the same. It was not. I hated it.
Really?
Oh yeah. And maybe other people wouldn't have thought the same. Maybe the guest didn't know any better.
I liked them. I could actually listen to the ones where I wasn't on it
because you weren't cringing at yourself.
Exactly. I think everyone does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No one
everybody
makes it
does.
hear-
I
hear
hated. I
themselves.
hated listening back on them for when I would talk. But I loved if we were all laughing or hearing what the guest was saying.
Yeah.
It was overall. I liked that we were doing something. But yeah, as soon as I was talking, I think we're all each other's own worst critics. So you go back going, what the fuck? Why would I say that?
Yeah.
Why do I keep
am I
saying,
laughing?
why do I
like
keep
that?
saying 100%?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, you guys are both pretty good at like keeping the conversations going and like a good interviewer, and I don't have that. Like
That's
I feel
bullshit.
like the good flow.
Cop
I
out.
don't. I feel like I don't.
You've also been asked. He's been asked many times, like at family get-togethers and events, to be the person behind the microphone. And
Yeah.
he might not do it like we do, and he hasn't maybe had the experience behind it. But when it push comes to shove, he's a natural. He
Yes.
just goes in. He's just him. See, that's the difference. Is he can just be himself.
Yeah, you're just that's all it is. Just be yourself.
And
Don't-
it's
you know,
perfect.
don't try to
Don't
I know,
think about
but
it.
Myself has anxiety, and I don't like doing it. I don't like talking in front of crowds. That's why we would drink. Like I stepped up for my grandpa's funeral and was able to like speak and stuff. But God, I got like diarrhea before it. And, like, I feel like everyone's like, "Oh, you did so good." I'm like, you don't know what that did to my body. Like, I was
blacked out.
dying
What
on
happened?
the inside. Like you guys, you didn't sound nervous. I'm like, I was fucking nervous for like a week and a half.
You,
And
you gave yourself an ulcer.
something.
I didn't talk to anybody for 3 months.
Like
I was on medical leave.
Yeah, I don't like the public speaking. And then, like today, I was like almost wishing someone was gonna cancel, and that's why
You
it's
just
like hard
looking
to-
at your phone all day
Oh,
saying,
come on,
crap,
just
Ken
cancel,
can't make
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
But it's
Oh,
like
dang.
I'm like I gotta just do it. You gotta do stuff you don't want to do.
Well,
or
you have a
that
great
are nervous
great
for.
radio voice, though. So even if you have some anxiety about it, your voice comes across very. Even listening on your guys's, you both have good voices. Because there. Oh God, you guys might know this. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but there is this phenomenon the last 7 or 10 years. You've heard the term vocal fry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an affliction that a lot of the younger, even not
The
even necessarily younger, but women.
Kardashians.
A
California.
lot of
Valley
women
girl
have this
accent.
vocal fry, and
Yeah.
they tail off their sentences like this, and I'm unlistenable, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's yeah.
she
It's actually
she
a
doesn't
singing
usually watch
technique,
my
too.
podcast anyway, but my daughter has her own podcast, and I'm not naming names, but she had one guest on, and the vocal fry was through the roof because I will always try to listen to hers. I think I made it 5 minutes in. I'm like, I can't do it, man. I'm tapping out.
There are certain people like that. It's funny you brought that up. I was obviously before we got into podcasting ourselves, we're huge Rogan fans. I know you
Yeah.
listen to Rogan, like him a lot. There's certain guests, I'm sure on other podcasts too, but there's certain recurring guests that Rogan will have on. I've lost the name. It's not on the tip of my tongue right now, but there's one of them, and I think he's probably a cool guy. But there's one guy.
Is he another comedian?
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't think he's a comedian. I can't remember though, because like it's been so long since
Yeah.
I've listened to one with him being on there.
Right.
But every time he comes on, I can't do it, and it's not what he's saying. It's his fucking voice.
Yes.
And I don't even think it's, if I remember correctly, it might not be the fry, but there is something about his voice where, to me, it's just unlistenable. And there's got to be that for other people out there.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's the fry or, the way that they talk or their mannerisms. But it's like, yeah, cool. And I think it's I don't think it's comedian now, too, because one of those things where it's not, the shit he's saying probably is interesting
Okay.
if it was written down.
Right.
But it's the way that he's.
Or if he would hire somebody to read it for him.
Yeah, and it's just me being a piece of shit. It's like, he's just himself. He's not, no one should have to change their voice, I guess.
No.
For
What if
something
something's wrong with them? Like RFK? Have you
Well,
heard
yeah,
him?
the RF. See, that's
Oh, well,
another
that's a-
example.
a
That's
physical
hard.
Yeah, I
medical
think so. I
issue,
think that's
right?
what he's just making fun of someone's
Right.
disabilities.
Because I tried. I did. I made it through it, and RFK was also on Bill Maher's, and I made it through it. But God, it was hard. It was hard listening because
I like what he's saying.
I love what he's saying, but after a point, if I force myself to, I kind of forget about it because I actually want to hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, then that's. But
RFK is very much that way for me. But I'll say this though. I'm gonna try one of those too while you got it open. Thank you. The guy that I was referring to before RFK came up, I would even listen to RFK all day over the other guy, which is funny because the other guy, there's
Who was
nothing.
it?
I'm trying to remember now. I'm gonna find.
mean,
Next time I see it,
it's
come
a
up.
man.
It's a
How old is he?
It's a reoccurring guy. I don't know. I think he's probably around like between our ages.
So long hair, short hair, clean shaven, glasses.
It's been so long, I don't know. But as soon as I see the name or hear the voice, I go, "Oh, that's the guy." Because I caught myself not
It
remembering
wasn't
that.
Tim Dillon.
No, it wasn't Tim Dillon.
It wasn't.
And it wasn't, even though sometimes I do have a hard time listening to him, it wasn't his comedian buddy who has a very unique voice, Duncan Trussell. Wasn't him.
Duncan, I was going to say.
Duncan Trussell. Wasn't Duncan Trussell.
Hey,
even
man.
sometimes Duncan
I
Trussell.
love Duncan Trussell.
I love him too, and he's hilarious.
You gotta be in the right mood for him.
But I have his voice. I can't. Sometimes it will hit me in a way where I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
30 minutes. I'll listen to the next 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
With RFK, same thing. I love RFK. I love what a lot of things about what he says and what he's doing. And when I first heard him, that was the funniest. I didn't know until they got into it and started talking about his voice modulation issue, because I guess he hasn't had it forever. But for the first while of the podcast, I'm going, why the fuck is this guy like? Does he have a cough? Like, is Rogan? Because Rogan's good about calling people out.
Or was it like, did he go through some kind of throat cancer or something? Or
yeah. And to bring this up too, and you guys, I'm gonna blame it on my daughters. So I watched.
Why not? They're not here.
I watched TikToks, and
You're addicted to TikTok.
oh yeah.
No, you're not blaming your daughter.
It's
That's you.
horrible. Well, the addiction's I guess me, but I think anybody that starts watching that shit will get addicted. It's like heroin. But there's this guy on there. Speaking of RFK, do you guys watch TikToks at all? Or
No.
or
I
see
do,
them
but
sometimes?
No.
I might have a different algorithm.
There's a guy on there, and he does these skits with in frame. It's just him, but he's having a conversation with RFK. Like RFK be like living in his house or doing all these other things, right? And so out of frame, you won't see his lips moving, but you hear him listen to RFK talk, and it's him doing an impression of RFK.
Oh, okay.
And it's like
it pretty good?
Some of them are miss, but there's so many hits it's worth it. So I'll watch any new one that pops up. There was this one you guys heard of, Gypsy Rose, right? The child that had
Killed
her
her
mom
mom.
killed. Her mom kind of basically Munchausen
Yes.
syndrome.
Didn't they make a movie
They
about
made
that?
a movie,
Yeah.
Lots of
documentary
movies and
shows, and all
documentaries.
this stuff, and she's out of prison now. Well, this one TikTok out of nowhere, and I wasn't expecting this. They'll pop up the script or the text, like the closed captions or whatever of what the other person's saying, and then it said something about Gypsy Rose is trying to hang out, or is not getting the hint that she's ghosted, or this and that, something along the lines of that. I'm probably butchering it, and you hear him do an impression off screen of like, "Hello, let me in. That fire's D. I want to hang out." And then you hear RFK's background. "Oh fucking god, that don't tell me that's fucking Gypsy Rose. Quick, lock the doors. Gotta hide. She's gonna come in here. That
That's a
fucking
pretty
bitch
good
is
RFK
crazy."
Your RFK
voice.
is pretty good.
That is
It's
pretty
like,
fucking
kind of
good.
sounds like Old Man Cliff, but it's close.
This guy does it better. I'm sure if I had practiced, I could probably
No,
get it
that's
down
pretty
better.
damn good,
But
dude.
I was, for like a week straight, going back and rewatching. I was dying because he's like, "Oh goddamn, button down the door. She's coming." Just like, what scenario and world did this guy think? I'm going to take RFK.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take Gypsy Rose. Obviously, he's trending things that are popular, and
Yeah.
I'm going to put him this little skit, but come up with this. She's trying to come in the house. RFK is like, "We got to lock this bitch out. She's crazy. Don't trust a thing she says." So for me, every once in a while, you get a gold nugget like that from old TikTok, and I think that's probably what keeps my ass.
So that's worth an hour a day of swiping, right? You can justify it.
Oh my god! Still no,
It's worth it.
it's not. You can't justify. I don't think, but.
Well, going back to the other thing, and this, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Ray, who I was just hanging out with yesterday. Her oldest daughter is a senior in high school. Her name's Molly, and I remember the first time I met her, which was just a few months ago, because they suckered me into buying cookie dough to support dance team. So she brought her daughter over to deliver the cookie dough to me, and I got to meet her. Oh my God, most mature, well-adjusted kid I've seen in a while. Can form, and I told Ray this after they left. I was like, she can form complete sentences without using like and like she doesn't have to have those filler words. She can just complete a thought,
Yeah.
and she'll look you in the eye when she talks to you. And I was like, gosh damn, where are more kids like you?
Yeah.
So it is possible. But going back to listening to annoying people on podcasts, some of them, even if they have an important message or something, cool to talk about, sometimes it's unlistenable. And going again, what I also learned, and you probably experienced this because you said it gives you anxiety just going back to listening to your podcast that you did with Tauren. But I learned so much because I will go back and listen. And like one of the worst things I've done, especially in the first 50 episodes or 40, is I would jump in too much instead of just sitting back and letting the guests talk. And sometimes I would insert, they're telling a story and it reminds me of something. And I would keep catching myself going, okay. And I even say it on the podcast. I'm like, sorry, I just jumped in. Please continue your story. So I've gotten better about that. And then you catch little things about, the 100%, whatever. But it is cringeworthy, but I feel like I've become a better communicator, even just on day-to-day interactions with people, because I keep going back and watching myself on a podcast. And I'm like, you just talked over that person. Stop talking and let them finish their thought.
Yeah.
So it's some ancillary benefits that I'm getting from doing this, in addition to the whole point of it. But yeah, you probably gained some knowledge, or at least picked out a few things by listening back to yourself.
Probably.
Or is it just still creating anxiety?
Well, it's kind of like what you were saying. I noticed, like, when we were having our podcast, if you had like a second of downtime, someone felt the need to like chime in and say something.
Right.
But when you're listening to it, to podcasts, and like sometimes they'll have a 2 or 3 second pause, and it doesn't like freak you out.
Yeah.
No.
But
it's
when
fine.
I'm in it, I feel
It
like
does.
someone needs to say something.
You have to fill the air.
Yeah.
Right.
So
But
you
sometimes
can
it's nice to let the conversation breathe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a listener, I think you realize that easy early on and easy enough. But as a someone doing it, especially for the first time or not for very long, again, you just automatically feel that way. And I remember it's funny because that you said that I know we've talked about it probably, and even Rogan's talked about it, and a lot of other people have. But I remember doing that on the list. Another big reason I would go back and listen to it, even if it wasn't for the full episode, I'd usually try to listen to the first 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So to get better, to hear those things that we could do better on, and kind of bring it up, or usually it was me. I hate my voice, but other than that, how many times was I jumping in? How many times was I using the same phrase, or
Yes.
and what was the segue, or the dead air thing? Like, okay, maybe we can have some,
Yeah, maybe it's okay.
and I'm sure all those bad habits have come back since, but
No,
but
you were on. I mean, even the 100% thing. It's just funny to mess with you about it, but I thought your last podcast was awesome. I mean, the
thank
conversation
you.
flowed naturally. Loved your gosh damn stories. But
well, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me enough to where I give a shit, because, like you said,
Right.
it's all about having a conversation, and that's
Yeah.
the way I would have talked to you with or without the microphone. So
Exactly.
and whether you recorded it or not, you'd have been like, he's a piece of shit. He won't shut up about the 100%. I'm never hanging out with him again. I just can't do it. The vocal fry and the 100%, we're done.
100%.
I should have added that.
Vocal fry on it.
See, Brendan back with a C. Brendan's always the comic relief too. So these are small little bits and tidbits for the ear to try to maybe talk him into one day. We've talked about it
you
before.
guys
but we
totally
we
should. You're close enough.
even if we don't do it as
And-
frequent.
I mean,
Yeah.
even if you only did it once every month or two, you don't have to do it every week.
No, we had
And-
talked about it, and it's just actually doing it.
But are you basically Monday through Friday, or do you have? I guess in the summer when you're busy, you have to do 6 days a week,
No.
or is it?
It's
Because,
5 days a week. It's just 50
Oh, that's
hours.
good. Because like I did a short stint working for a paving company, and when the summer is when all the jobs can get done with paving. So we would literally every week was Monday through Saturday. I only got one day off. But your company doesn't make you do that.
They make other people do it. The people that are paving, I'm sure, have to work. that
Oh, okay, but yeah, you're not.
much.
that's
There's
not
been
your thing.
times where I work 60 hours a week, but
Yeah,
for the most part, it's 50 hours. Like,
okay, and
I might
pretty
be out of
consistent.
town.
Pretty consistent schedule. You're home most of the time at the same time each day.
Yeah,
Good.
it's 6 to 4:30, Monday through
Nice.
Friday.
That's awesome.
Except for I might be out of town here in a couple of weeks or something, but it is what it is.
And
Making
did,
money out of town, so
And as far as the Salem Kaiser school districts, it seems like the schools up in Vancouver, have they changed the start times? Did they push them later? Because they did in Vancouver. Like kids are starting later and getting out later.
They have like A and B day, so they'll have like a late start day
Oh,
for I think for the high school and middle school, and they'll just I can't remember like.
but
what
what's
time
the
it is,
normal start time? Like, is it still 8 or 8:30, or is it after 9?
but I think the normal start time is like 8.
Okay,
And then I think there's like a 9:30 is the late start.
but that's only one
could-
time a week.
Totally be wrong. I think it's every other day.
Oh, okay. What's the point of that?
I don't know.
That's like, wouldn't you?
I could be totally wrong too. I'm always gone, and I
Yeah.
I can't.
Okay, we
retain
need
my
to get Mel
schedules.
on the podcast next time.
Yeah.
She can answer these questions.
Yeah, I doubt she'd be down, but I could ask her.
Yeah, my friend Ray, again, when I was talking about her daughter, but she won't be on the podcast. But I literally did the podcast with her last night because we were just hanging out. And she has a great house with some property, so I just wanted to check it out. And we sat on the couch and just talked for like an hour and a half. And it literally was the exact same thing we'd be doing if it was on a podcast. I just didn't have any equipment. So it was just a conversation. But I remember leaving the house and heading home. I was like, oh my gosh, Ray's been saying for like a year or two that she won't ever do the podcast. I'm like, we just fucking did it. It just didn't get recorded.
Yeah, something about knowing it's being recorded, and you can start to get in your own head. But I feel like when I was drinking, when we were doing podcasts, it would help me be more myself and just
Yeah, it's a social lubricant.
forget you're doing it, and that could be good or bad. But
I feel like doing this also has that's a perfect example of interpersonal communications and just relating to people. I can now have better conversations with them even if we're not doing the podcast, and so that's another ancillary benefit, I guess, of doing this. I actually care about what people are saying instead of just waiting for them to finish their sentence so I can say something. I'm actually listening to people. And a lot of it is because of this, I feel like. And 8 years of fucking therapy. Shout out Lindsay. So
There you go. Yeah, I can't just count that, right? No, that's for sure. I feel like the whole social lubricant thing is how I feel, podcast or not, when
Yeah.
it comes to being, you
Yeah.
know, social and in a crowd. But yeah, I know for sure, especially with the podcasting. I mean, I remember, I totally forgot that you would actually drink then, because I know Brendan doesn't. He's hit and miss. He drinks maybe a drink or two here, at least when I hang out with him, but not very often.
yeah, and I was
Sometimes he
I was
doesn't.
on I think 3 times, and I would always bring beer down. So I feel like you would have a beer or something, but it was me and Tauren that were getting drunk. You never did.
And nothing's changed.
I'll drink a couple. I can get buzzed off 2 or 3 Mambas. There's a couple times I remember getting pretty hammered.
Oh, you did the Mambas?
I like.
Yeah.
I like
That's
them.
Oh, because
I was all about
isn't
the
that
Mambas.
the alcoholic energy drink?
No, it's Gilgamesh Brewing.
Oh,
Is Mamba. that we-
Gilgamesh is in Salem, right?
There's one here too. Did you know that?
Is there?
I
Yeah,
did
right.
not.
Yeah, right downtown on Main Street, where the Y comes in, where you can go take River Road South to go home. So if you came that way here, did you come that way from Orville and down River Road South?
Yeah.
The back way.
Yeah, yeah.
So you passed it. So right there by that bank, that 3-way stop that you had to take a left to come here.
Yeah.
It's right before the bank. It's called Gilgamesh at the riverfront.
Oh.
It's awesome. It's probably, well, since I live here, it's easy to say it's my favorite. But I go down there. I've been down there a handful of times. Had a birthday party down there.
Is it the same kind of food in Salem or?
I believe it is.
Different
If
menu.
I remember correctly, I think the menu's all the same. It's the same owners, and they'll open it opens up in the back, so they have like their own brick and mortar restaurant brew in the front half of it, all rustic with has a balcony seating.
Okay.
Up there as well.
Yeah.
And then they have the old garage style bay doors in the back and the front that will
Nice.
open up into outdoor seating and patio areas.
So it's before the bank. Is it on the riverside or across the street?
Right across the street.
Across, okay.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
And they have a beer called Mamba.
Yeah.
What style is it?
It's like a tea beer.
It's like a citrusy.
It's like I know it's like a citrus beer, tea beer or something.
Yeah, but and again, it's like
Black tea,
craft.
maybe?
It's not
Right. So but is it a Pilsner, a lager, an IPA?
See,
or?
that's what I'm trying to remember because I don't think it's an IPA. It doesn't taste like what you would say a Pilsner lager IPA. It doesn't taste like what you
Okay.
would think it does. But yeah, that's probably
You
like
said
a
it's
Pilsner
citrusy.
or
I
a
wonder
lager.
if it's. I wonder if it's almost like the steel thing. What do they call them? Where they mix like a light beer with like lemonade. A rattler. Is it something like a rattler? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I've never heard that term before, but
They literally, you can buy the mass-produced ones. I think they're called rattlers.
okay.
But it's like a super light lager or pilsner, and then they mix it with like lemonade, and it's very citrusy. Is that kind of what it is?
Did you
I
Google
tried
it?
looking it up. My phone wouldn't.
Didn't
Wouldn't
say?
load,
Yeah, because
yeah.
now I'm curious.
No, my
because,
phone just wouldn't load for
Oh.
whatever's not on your Wi-Fi.
Because for me it was like
I thought it was something with black tea, but it was. I haven't ever tasted a beer like that before, but I'm not
Me
like
neither.
a beer
So, and it's
connoisseur.
got the normal beer carbonation, so you'll get a head on it, or is it not quite as carbonated as a normal beer? And I worked at a brewery. I'm getting into the minutia here. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I put it in my mouth and it tasted
And it
halfway
tastes good.
decent. That's all I know.
says from Gilgamesh Brewing, a very complex hopless brew with
no hops.
No hops, with a light yet slightly sweet and spicy body, brewed with black tea, a hint of tangerine zest, and rye.
Tangerine. That's what I was missing.
I've never tried a beer that didn't have even a little bit of hops in it. That's weird.
That's what.
So
yeah,
it's something very unique.
Hard to explain. Yeah,
definitely
very
unique, yeah.
unique.
And then they had their DJ Jazzy Hef.
Ooh, I
which
like
is-
that one too.
Which is my other favorite from them.
Yeah, this one's 6.5% ABV.
Because Gilgamesh is
It's a malt beer. Is what it says.
It's
A malt.
a malt beer.
Yeah, it's a malt.
So it's like a Colt 45.
Yeah, Colt 45 and I did not. I would never have guessed malt beer on that, but that's what they classify it as, a malt beer.
Oh, that's hilarious.
With black tea.
Yeah, and it doesn't taste. I was trying to think about it. It was kind of my springboard into IPAs. When we were going to Gilgamesh when they first came to town, you're the one that introduced me to that and their Mambas, and I was like, holy shit.
That's when you were living in Salem, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Salem or Kaiser.
Salem or
Yeah.
Kaiser. But Brendan's the one that introduced me to Gilgamesh and the Mambas and the DJ Jassy Hefts, and it was a new restaurant / brewery in town for us Salemites.
Where is their Salem location? I feel like I've been there, but maybe not.
It's on Madrona. Like if you know where Fred Meyers is on Commercial. You get on Madrona and you go east
Yes.
towards like the train tracks.
Is it in an industrial area?
Yep,
Yes,
right,
I
yeah.
have been there.
Right by
Okay.
the industrial area,
Yep,
where
yep,
they have the hoop
okay.
and all that stuff back there. Yep.
Delicious. I haven't been there in a while.
I haven't been to that one in forever. I guess there's. Oh, I think they closed it down. They had one in West Salem for a while. I don't know if they still do.
It
but
didn't make it through the pandemic, probably.
I don't. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
not, because I think Brittany's mom used to go to that one all the time. But this one here, and Independence survived. Awesome. I went there a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Had some of their beers, and yeah, it was great. Yeah, and the seating, the atmosphere there too. That's what I really liked there, because all the bay doors that open up
Yeah.
on a nice day, and it was in the summertime. So it was
Oh, yeah, I
perfect.
did notice, because last summer when I was here, you didn't even have the window AC unit, so you got AC this summer.
Yeah, I got
Ballin'.
window AC.
I
But
mean,
yeah.
that helps.
It's night and day. Like that thing, I got on Marketplace for a great deal. I think I spent $200 on it. The guy was asking like 300 or 250 or something, and it's like a 16,000 BTU.
Yeah.
I mean, because that downstairs is so open with the vaulted ceilings, and it goes
Yeah.
right into the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's why we put those curtains right there before it goes up to the stairs, because we have central heat but not central air.
Right, because I remember last year when we did the podcast, luckily
warm.
it was in the middle. It must have been August, late July or August, because it was a warm day.
Yeah.
But actually, by the time I got here, I think it was still around the same time, 6. It was tolerable, but I remember, I think we left that door open. You had the windows open,
Yep.
trying to get the airflow.
Exactly, yeah, with
Yep.
that ceiling fan. That ceiling fan does a pretty good job with what it is and what it can do. But yeah, the AC was a lifesaver this year. I was like, I'm not going to do another year of that bullshit, and so we got that. And that thing, I'm really impressed. Like the whole downstairs kitchen and everything. I did get some blackout curtains for the sliding glass door in the kitchen, which helped.
Then
big
I
time.
guess all you need to do now is just buy a couple more window units for the upstairs bedrooms?
And we
maybe?
already have all those.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Right on.
Yeah, I mean, if I owned the place, I would have invested into a central
Oh, I thought you
AC.
did.
No,
Just renting?
just renting.
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, or else,
Okay.
yeah, I would have went a different route. But since we just rent, there's a lot of things I don't do here.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been here for 5 years. Love it. I think the landlords like us because they've barely raised the rent since we've been here in 5 years.
That's
and-
nice.
Oh yeah, we get a smoking deal. That's why.
Seems like
that's
every
why I'm not going
year-
out to buy a house.
Seems like every year landlords are looking for a reason to raise it. Jesus.
Yeah, and they've only raised it I think 3 times in 5 years, and I think the most they ever raised it in 1 year was $50.
And that was probably just to cover higher property taxes.
Probably.
I don't think they're just trying to soak you for more money.
No,
but
they just
yeah.
and hopefully that's not the case next year. They just put a brand new roof on, and I thought for sure after the new roof they were gonna to raise the rent on the lease renewal. They didn't.
Do the owners live in the area?
I think they live in Salem.
Okay.
It's through it, so they have it through a property management company.
right.
But I think there's a time or two we've directly contacted with them a time or two.
Okay.
They come out and do fence work. So far, from what I know, it's been a good experience. And with the cost of living and housing these days, I mean, I'm not gonna bitch. I mean, we got a really smoking deal, and I mean, honestly, I pay less. I pay the same or less for this place than I would if we were going to get an apartment.
Wow.
With
and you have a whole
like a
house.
3-bedroom apartment.
Nice.
This is a 4-bedroom house. So
Dude.
yeah, I'm not bitching at all.
No.
That's why I don't want to leave. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rent has gone up crazy around here.
Yeah.
Even
Oh,
worse up north. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like me and my roommate Ame, we have it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, but the entire apartment is maybe as big as your downstairs, including that, and your bathroom. $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month. I'm like,
That's more than what I pay for this.
you
Yeah.
want another
Sorry, I
roommate?
didn't wanna
You
burst
want another
it.
roommate? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
transfer to the Salem Costco.
Hey, shit. Hey, if my kids don't get their act together.
I'll
Hey,
at
just
lea-
so you
I'll at
know, we
least
got
pay
somebody
rent.
right in your room.
I'll give you rent money. How about
Right,
that?
Yeah, exactly. They're not even doing the
I got
damn
an extra
dishes,
room,
let
too.
alone rent. Shit, yeah, me and Brendan are
My
in the same
mortgage is
boat
cheaper
right
than
now.
that.
Well, your podcast going all over the place. Okay, so Monday night's this podcast. Tuesday we're gonna
Oh
do
my
that
God,
one.
That's hilarious.
I got the pre-COVID mortgage, so the under 3%,
Nice.
which is
Yeah.
like unheard of now.
That's
No.
friggin' awesome.
No, that you
You gotta
you
keep
got
it
in.
forever. Yeah, we got in at. I thought it was at a bad time because the house prices were starting to go up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the rates were down, so it worked out pretty good. Actually, when I first bought it, I think it was like 375, and then I was in it for a little bit, and the rates went down, and I had enough equity in my house to be able to refinance and drop the mortgage insurance,
Nice.
which dropped the payment down like another 300.
Hell
So
yeah.
that was pretty awesome.
Dude, you got in perfect
We
time.
got in good time.
That's what Pops did with the cabin.
Oh, he did.
He bought it right before COVID hit over at Crescent Lake in Central Oregon.
Where's
Kind of by
that at?
Chemult, between Chemult
Oh,
and
I know where
Lapine.
that's at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he got in there and he got a smoking deal, couple acre lot, A-frame cabin with a big shop on the property.
Nice.
Beautiful property.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. And now now
Dirt bike
he,
trails from his cabin.
oh, and he's
Nice.
put in so much more single track. We got
Has he?
we got to get you up there, dude. Like it's so fun, and we won't. Not getting it crazy. I talked to your dad too. We got to get him back out there. I know he keeps putting his bike on Marketplace. We keep talking back and forth about it. He's like, well, if I go out and ride it or lose a couple pounds, I'll come out with you guys. And I'm like, dude, come out with us, because what other buddy you know lives in the center of an OHV trail system?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that on the back of that's also not fired, wildfired out.
Yeah.
Even though there's one that right now going that got close to it. But yeah, so he got his property, going back to that, he got his property right before COVID. Oh my God, the thing's quadrupled in cost now since then.
Oh, so he already has a ton of equity in it.
Oh yeah. So in fact,
Nice.
he lives in Rickreall, basically. Yeah. So they're doing everything to button up and get their house ready to sell. They have a couple acre lot over there, the big giant shop.
Okay.
They're probably
they
going to
wanna
sell.
sell,
And
huh?
They're probably going to sell and just move over to the cabin.
Oh, they want to be there full time?
Yeah, I think more
Even in
so.
the winter?
Maybe,
And is the
maybe-
cabin connected to services, or is it off the grid? Like they have a
he just got a well put into it.
okay.
So you have a well.
Do they
and
have power? Or
yeah,
they're doing,
they
so
they had
it's not like
electricity.
they're doing solar.
Oh
And,
no, they got
okay.
internet and they got
Okay.
power. They got everything. The well was the last thing to go in, and he just put a well in. So, and he's gonna build a new giant shop on there.
Oh yeah.
Because he owns it out flat right or flat out. He took equity out of his home here in town to buy the cabin outright.
Oh.
And so he's going to sell the home here now and have that much more to put into the cabin, then also put more savings aside. But he's retired, and yeah, so he's going to move all the way over to the cabin. I was like, you want to try it out for a little bit, see what happens? Like, don't turn
You
into
just
The
gonna
Shining
commit?
over there, or because I mean during the winter time, and they get 8 feet of snow, 6 feet
Yeah.
of snow, like
Yeah.
it gets crazy.
So you don't
Like,
want to
you're
just
digging
do
yourself out.
spend one test winter there and see how you like it still.
and they go visit. They've had it
Right.
for about over 4 years now. They go there a lot, off and on. And they've been there in the wintertime. But I was like, that's one thing. But living
Yeah,
and all
every day dealing with it.
every day, and you're gonna. I mean, he knows a couple people that live out there, but population obviously isn't what it is here. All of his friends and families over here.
Yeah.
So
I thought the winters are insane.
yeah, they're pretty crazy, and he's gonna and he's a social guy. He's a social dude, so he's that kind of guy that likes to be able to go hit the local tap house or
Right.
bar at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and
In the bustling town of Crescent or
Crescent
Schmaltz.
technically it's
roasted
Crescent.
chicken.
Yeah. Yep, Manly's. Yep.
Yeah. They got some good chicken at Manly's.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because I talked to people about that. I didn't realize it until the last couple times I went there. People love or hate Manly's. It's so funny.
People hate it? I've never heard people hate it.
There's some people that hate it. They're just like, that's the grossest shit ever, blah, blah. I'm like, man, thank God you didn't grow up with my mom. I had way worse chicken than that.
Why is your mom catching shrapnel? Come on, I'm editing that out.
My mom like, you motherfucker,
It's not even
I'm never
fair.
gonna
She's
make
not
you
here to
chicken
defend
anymore.
herself.
Yeah, and that was me taking a cheap shot because sometimes she could really hit the mark on that
Okay.
fried chicken. But no, Manly's is all. I think Manly's is great, but there's two schools of thought, and there's no in between.
That's
I've never heard
hilarious.
somebody say it's all right. It's either they fucking hate it
or they love it.
Yep.
I've never heard people not liking it.
All right, so 13 and 16, both girls. And what are they like as far as, what's their interest? What are they thinking, when they get out of high school? Are they into sports? Are they more science or art?
The oldest, she does. She's really into. I think she's on her second year of doing sign language.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she does. They do a out program called C-Tech in Salem,
Okay.
and they teach like welding and some blue collar stuff there, and then they also have
Like trades.
trades, but also she's there for like social work,
Okay.
and she's really liking that. So I don't know if she's gonna do social work with something with. She wanted to do something with sign language and all that, but she's pretty motivated to do something. She has a lot of interest, so she also likes doing. She might even do like podcasting or something like that
Nice.
if she can get over being like me, where she's shy and have anxiety or whatever. But she's liking all that kind of stuff. But and like maybe like voiceover stuff. She likes having a goofy voice like me too.
You have an
So-
amazing voice. Stop saying that.
No, like doing I do like
you
do
can do
impressions
goofy.
and
Got
stuff
it.
like
Got it.
that.
I'm sorry. Okay.
When I do my stupid shit.
This whole
But-
podcast has been doing impression.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's my oldest, and then my youngest. She's trying to figure out what she likes. She's tried like every sport.
Oh,
And
okay.
she did basketball last year. She's gonna do it again. She's doing acting,
Oh, nice.
and I'm not sure what she's leaning towards. What she wants to do with her life, but
I mean, it's too early. I didn't mean that. She doesn't have to know that. I was just curious what their current interests
yeah, they got
are.
hobbies. My oldest is a little more of a nerd like me, where she'll like to play some Fortnite or some video games, and she'll play video games with me.
Okay.
And the youngest one's nothing to do with it. So actually, she played once not that long ago, and she was having she actually had fun, but
But
she's not
it
her
didn't
interest.
catch her.
It didn't. No, she was.
Yeah.
That's how Mel is too. She wants nothing to do with video games. unless it's like Tetris every once in a while. And I've loved video games since I was, before I knew Tauren. So he was trying to drag me away from video games my whole life, and I'll go away from them and come back. It's just like I just embrace it.
Isn't that hilarious
Enjoy
how
it.
two kids, especially the same sex, raised by the same parents in the same environment, can be totally different?
It's insane. It's the nature nurture thing is like the same. They're just different people.
It's whatever those genes that they got, or some of your genes popped up in one, and some of Mel's genes popped up in the other, probably.
And then just finding themselves too. It's like my youngest, she's so sweet and nice, but also people have the fight or flight.
Mhm.
She has the fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
that
her
might
cousin
serve her.
like hit her in the back or pushed her. I don't know if she meant to like hurt her, but it hurt her. It was actually I think in Costco parking lot.
Oh, jeez.
And my youngest,
Speaking
and this
of
is her
Costco.
older cousin, she just turned around and started throwing punches.
Oh my God! It was just a reflex.
She thought she was trying to hurt her.
It was a reflex.
It was a
right.
reflex. She thought she was trying to hurt her on purpose, which I don't think she was.
Oh
And
my
then
God!
she just turned around and started throwing, and you had to like get her to calm down.
Just gonna-
Get that from your dad. A little bit of anger, just snap and start throwing. And
Oh my God! That's hilarious.
yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, that's usually like a boy thing, but
Yes. So
Yeah.
she has fire.
she does, and
That's
she's a good at like self advocating for herself, and that's redundant, but she's she's a good kid. They're both good kids.
That's awesome,
They're
man.
they're just different kids.
Hey, it makes it fun.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment in the house.
No, yeah, definitely not. We got and 2 dogs and a lizard, so
You have a lizard too.
a
Nice.
bearded dragon
Oh my gosh, that's
that my
hilarious.
youngest has named Dwight from The Office.
Love
Oh
it.
jeez. Okay,
Yeah.
I got the reference.
Yeah. That's
And your
pretty good.
oldest, remind me the name again because I just forgot.
Katie.
And then Cameron's 16,
No,
15.
she just looks like she's 16. No, she'd be 15.
wasn't
She'd be
checking her
15 in
out.
a couple
Stop it.
months. I honestly,
But the one that just
was,
went to the Dallas tonight's the oldest.
that's
right?
the oldest. Yeah, no, Cameron definitely looks. Everybody always thinks she's the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Tall suddenly.
she got tall. She developed in the last year and a half, whatever, 2 years, like out of nowhere, crazy. Like it's insane. And her and Katie have the same mom.
And so and Katie is finishing up senior year of high school, but she's also working.
Yep.
And what's she thinking she wants to do after high school?
Yeah, good question.
I hope she has an answer. No, I'm kidding.
She doesn't. I can't blame her too much though, because shit, neither do I, and I'm sitting here over twice her age.
I don't know what I would do with my life.
I don't know what I'll do when I grow up, but yeah, no, she's I feel like she should definitely utilize her talents and skills. I mean, her, as far as like even how dedicated and determined she is to have the grades she has. I just got her a letter in the mail the other day saying that not only is she going to graduate with honors, but she's the ranked 7th in her class of 220 something kids of
Wow.
academics.
Is she going to Central? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think she has a 4.3 GPA, 4.5.
Jesus, so
like
she's gonna have options if she wants to continue her education. She'll have
Exactly.
She'll have no trouble getting into whatever school if she
and
wants
that's
to.
kind of what her and I need to sit down and talk about if I can find a brief moment, because if it's not school and homework, she's at her work, and if it's not
What's
those
the-
things,
what does
she's
she
going to
work
hang out with her friend or boyfriend.
What's her job?
She works at Dollar Tree down the road.
Oh, the one up by the Ross IGA, or used to be, I guess.
Used to be the old Ross, now it's a grocery outlet. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, exactly. It's the one right down there. She's awesome. She works part time there, but they call her in. I swear to God, almost every day they call her in. She says yes every time.
because they can rely on her probably.
They could rely on her. They want her to be management and jump up, but she's trying to obviously focus on school right now. And
All right, and then Cameron's upstairs, right? So let's talk about her since she's here, and hopefully she's listening.
yeah,
So
well,
what's going
I
on
hear
with
I
Cameron?
hear her
I
and
think I
riling
was
up their
snickering.
snickering, so they are being teenage girls. Yep, yep. Now they're on the spot. So
And she can come down and respond if you say anything out of line. So.
that's right. Yeah, they moved now because they heard us
Because
talking
I
about
said
her.
it, yes.
No, but yeah, no, she's a freshman in high school, so
Also at
big
Central.
adjustment. Central High School. So we got 2 girls in the same high school. Cameron's doing great, off to a great start. Obviously, still, in the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
and she's doing a lot better so far with high school than middle school. Middle school was tough for
Oh, really? Okay.
her.
So maybe the change of scenery helps.
I think I think a lot and now how it's structured and how it's there's more people, so it feels less cliquey.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
because everybody in middle school even it feels like everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
More so than high school, she actually gets a bigger, larger class size, and there's multiple classes. You're not seeing the same people.
Oh, in the middle school you stayed in the same class all day.
Well, not necessarily, but not as much as high school. Like you had three
Okay.
or four, maybe three classes throughout the day,
Okay.
but all the core classes were all the same, and you
Yeah.
had all the same people you saw every single day.
Okay.
Here in high school, with all the electives and there's different core classes. So some of the people that she was in school with in middle school that every day, she might see only at lunch or in passing, but never have any class with, or maybe one class throughout the whole day. So I think she's really liking that a lot because, girls, school, drama. I mean, they all go together so well. And
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. I got 3 girls, and let me tell you, it's always, always interesting.
Now let's go down the list of the other 3 that
Well,
are younger.
Yeah, Rylan, who just showed up while we're on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, Rylan just got here, so she's in 8th grade doing
Okay.
choir, kicking ass.
Oh, just a year behind. Okay.
Just a year behind. Yeah, they're all pretty close in year in
damn,
age
dude, he was-
before Jackson. There's a big gap.
He was real busy.
I was busy as shit. That's why the doctor cut my dick off.
Wait, don't say.
It's amazing he tricked 3 women into sleeping with him and not just
yeah.
one.
Oh my
Exactly.
God, that just reminded me of one of the best lines I've ever heard. My coworker Garrett, I was just being myself, just way too much personality one day at work. We're in the Costco tire shop, that's where I work. But I was just riffing and ranting and just being myself and talking smack. And at some point, Garrett just shakes his head and he just announces to the entire tire shop, "Ken, how the hell did you get 3 women to marry you?" So yeah,
So you can relate.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
yes.
See, that's why he drives all the way down here for a podcast. A podcast about nothing. It's gonna be perfect. That's right.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah.
So Ryland,
Oh yeah.
8th grade.
Rylan. Yep.
and then the younger ones.
Yeah, and then one younger one. We're to 99 now. So kid number 99.
What's that reference?
I always say I have 100
100
kids.
kids.
Everybody's like, how many kids you got? Yeah, I got, I don't know, like 100 or something. But yeah, so Jackson, he's my youngest, my only boy. Well, my only biological
Oh, I'm
boy.
sorry,
I have a
you-
stepson.
You have.
I have a
4.
stepson. So I got 4 kids.
and
I got
then-
4 biological kids, and I have a stepson.
Okay.
And depending on when you ask me and how much of my shit my stepson's being, sometimes I'm probably so pissed I don't even say it. Because he's at the ripe age of 16-year-old boy
Okay.
who knows everything.
Yeah, of course.
He has it all figured out.
Yes, we did.
Yep, exactly. So, yep. So so I got him. So Brittany and I, it's Brittany's biological son, Kiani, and he's 16. So he was, obviously right below Katie, right between Cameron and Katie. And right now he's having to learn the hard truth of reality and try to figure his shit out.
Yeah.
He was living here during the summer for
Okay.
a while, but he couldn't get his shit figured out,
Yeah.
so he's no longer living here. A little bit of tough love, but I'm like same thing happened with him and his mom. Couldn't do it there. Went to his biological dad's house. Couldn't do it there. Started couch hopping, going to a friend's house. Couldn't do it there. He talked a big game, came down here, and and I tried to help him the best I could. But I always told him, I was like, listen, dude, I'm not going to put more effort in than you are. And if
Yeah.
I see that's the case, then we're going to have to reevaluate this whole situation. Because you're not going to learn anything doing it that way.
Right.
You're not going to be, and he wants more than anything in the world. He wants to be an adult and go out and get his license and get a job and get emancipated or whatever. Because
Right.
he's not doing the school thing. So if you're not doing the school thing, you got to be doing something. You got to do. It's either a job or school.
Right.
But you're not going to be just sitting around eating Cheetos, playing video games. All right, in my garage.
Where's he living now?
He went back to his dad's house.
Oh,
Okay.
We'll see how that. We'll see.
Yeah,
how
and we
that
and,
goes.
and again, I always say this. I just wanted to check in with the kids. You don't have to share stuff.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm sure he'll never see this. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. And
he won't
either,
make it this far.
even if he did, I'm not going to divulge anything that hasn't been out, open out there. Exactly. No, and I love him to death. And I told him, I was like, dude, you can always come back, always be here for you. Like,
But
to
there's
me,
still
even
gonna
though
be
he's my
some-
step kid, to me, he's my. I don't treat any of my kids differently, whether you came from me or not.
Right.
You're my kid.
I treat them all like shit across the board.
Exactly.
At least it's fair.
Yeah, you gotta smack them
what
around
I do.
throw them against the wall every once in a while. But you know what? No,
But then your youngest, biological, one is
Jackson.
Jackson.
And he's
Okay.
he'll be 9 in
That's
January.
Yours and Brit.
Yep, me and
I think
Brittany,
I just
yep.
said her name wrong. Is it Brittany?
Brittany.
That's
yep.
how she pronounces it.
Yep.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
always calling
don't
her
worry,
Brittany. For all
everybody
these
does.
years, I've been calling her Brittany.
her own family calls her Brittany. So don't
Okay.
give her.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's heavily debated.
It's heavily, yeah, I think it's debated. Brittany,
I
if
think
you
she just
ever
changed
listen to
it
this,
at some point.
I'm the one to still only respect. We haven't been together for over 4 years, and I'm still calling you Brittany. So you're welcome.
Yep.
Don't know what happened. I don't know how that ended.
But is it
all the
because
respect.
is it because there's the two e's on the end? Is that what gives it?
Well,
that
so it's not 2 e's. It's
pronunciation?
1 e with the little accent. Above it.
Oh,
The little hat, whatever the hell you
Yeah.
call it
Umlaut.
above the e.
Is it umlaut?
no,
The
that's
umlaut?
a German thing, isn't it? That
The German- I think
changes
that's
the
a two dot.
pronunciation. That changes the pronunciation of the o.
Yeah, that's the
It,
two
it
dots.
makes, it
Okay,
makes it a
okay,
U
yeah, yeah,
sound
for-
instead of an O sound. The only
That's my
reason I know
bonus
that
point
is because one of the
You're
greatest
close.
bands ever is Nickelback, and Chad Kruger is how you pronounce it. It's not Chad Kroger.
Is it
Because
Kruger?
It's Kruger, but even though it has an O, but it's a German name,
Yeah,
so that's why everybody mispronounces his name.
it's Kroger. I just
Everybody
learned
thought
something.
it was Kroger.
Well,
but
I just
it's-
learned that.
It's Kruger.
I never knew that.
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
very surprised. I just learned something new. I've been calling them. Well, I think the whole world's been calling them Kroger
Yes.
since day
And we
one.
also have that big grocery store down a chain here called Kroger's. So
Oh, yeah.
and they just look at it Kroeger, and they assume it's Kroger.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then what? Motley Crue had the 2 dots above the O, but it doesn't change
But
the sound of the
he-
O.
Oh my God! Because I listened to Chad, I listened to a lot of interviews. He talks about that, and he used that example. He said it's kind of like how Motley Crue has the umlauts over that, but he said they're not really using it right. It's
They're not.
It's not supposed to be over the U.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And so they the reason I know about that is watching interviews with them talk about that. They just thought that it looked cool, so they threw
Yeah.
it on there.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
So it had it was nothing phonetic. It just it looks cool. Which hey, yeah, do it.
Oh,
Whatever.
and we're getting totally off topic, but there is no topic. But also, in that same interview, Chad talks about when, they were still popular, but at one point they went on tour with Alice in Chains. The lead singer, Alice in Chains, is that Lane?
Lane Staley.
Did he pass?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Like
must have been when he
96.
was still alive. So this was a while ago. But they went on tour one summer together, and so they would always have to do whatever city they're in, the morning interviews on the radio.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he was like, apparently they went in one morning, and right off the bat, the radio DJ's like, all right, we have Lane Staley and Chad Kroger from Nickelback in studio. And Lane apparently knew, so he stopped the interview. He goes, dude, it's Kruger. Like, get his name right.
Yeah.
And he looked at Chad, and Chad's like, I don't know, it wasn't that big of a deal. And,
Yeah.
And Lane is like, that's your last name, dude. Don't ever let somebody mispronounce your last name.
Oh shit.
A Lane
Win
Staley
for
story.
Lane. Well, I'm a huge Lane Staley
Yes,
Alice in Chains fan,
yes.
so that's awesome to hear that. But yeah, you know what? I thought it might have been a little later in the '90s, but it was '90s. So that's crazy that
That
they
must
were.
have been when they first blew
And
up.
they had
after
to
the
been
How You
very,
Remind Me.
very beginning. Like I'm talking like
Yeah.
like because the first time I heard Nickelback was "Leader of Men."
Yes. Yes.
Like the music video came out, and you guys remember MTV X just played
Yeah, yep.
music videos all days, but rock. It
Yeah.
was rock and metal. And I saw "Leader of Men," and that was the video. I was like, "Who the fuck are these guys?" That's an awesome song, and to this day, I still love that song. And it was before they blew up and got real popular and had
Right.
like radio pop songs. At that point, I don't even think that song ever did, other than MTVX did
No.
real well. They didn't make it off of that song. I
No,
mean,
it
when
was
How You Remind Me
is
came
what blew
out.
'em
That's
up.
when
Yep.
radio friendly ship. So yeah, that must have been really early on. because-
99 or two,
Yeah,
maybe
'cause-
2000. Because I remember when I lived in Bend and had to come back to work in the Valley a lot. On the drives from Bend to here, I got that Nickelback CD and I would listen to How You Remind Me all the time. So it was probably around 2000.
Yeah, because let's see when Lane
When
died.
when
Oh, you're
Staley
right.
died.
Okay, so I was wrong. So Lane died in 2002. So yeah, early 2000s.
So they must, when they first blew up, they must have went on tour with them.
Yep.
So
Well, shit, I
sorry,
didn't even
Brendan,
know that.
we're geeking out on Nickelback here. Sorry.
Oh, I don't care.
Brendan's a,
Have either of you guys
Brendan's giant
seen the
music fan.
documentary "Hate to Love"?
I don't know, giant fan, but seen what is
The Nickelback documentary. It's called "Hate to Love."
it? Uh-uh.
It's
that the
on-
one that they just came out
it's
with
currently
recently?
on Netflix right now.
Yeah,
Back
I
in-
watched the one where they go through their whole.
Yes. Yeah. So
I didn't know there was a name for it, but I loved it. It
Yeah,
was
it's
great.
called "Hate to Love" appropriately. Because the joke is that all their fans hate that they fucking love them. But yeah, it was such a big deal for me. I made a whole thing of it because before it was released on any streaming service, they did a like a theater to it. It got released in select theaters across the country, and one of them was the Kiggins Theater in downtown Vancouver, which usually plays like second-run movies or independent stuff.
Yeah.
But so I like gathered my friends and me and Pam and her cousin Ann and our friend Sean. I bought the tickets for everybody. It's like, we have to go. I have to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
It's an event. And we got there and I loved it, but there was like the 4 of us and maybe 7 other people in the entire theater.
That's even better. That's fucking awesome.
But it's a great documentary, and yeah, it's streaming on Netflix. You should check it out. It's a really good documentary. It explains so much about them, and it makes you also, if you weren't into them, it makes you appreciate that. Sorry, they're just fucking talented musicians, man.
You can't deny that.
I don't hate them. I don't love them.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Well, the funny thing about him
it.
is where everybody started shitting on him out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And while probably they're at their peak or the height of like just kicking ass for so long, and everybody started shitting on him, and it was like, but wait, they're kicking ass. They're doing it. Even if you don't like them, it's like you can't deny the fact that they're killing it.
They just write hit songs. That's all they do. So.
Well, I think it's the mentality of the elitism in music, and I think with rock in general, and special rock and metal, and that blurred line there is like where it's cool to like the bands that no one knows about and likes yet, and then as soon as they become famous and people like them, they're shit. Like I remember that with Green Day. I lived it in real time when Green Day wasn't really anybody that anybody knew about, but as soon as they came out with their second album, oh fucking sellouts, they're not punk, they're not this and that. And I remember going like, yeah, but didn't you like their music? Like, did you like I know you're fucking playing Dookie on repeat. Like, come on.
Speaking of that, did you guys go see the Foos or Green Day at Providence Park this summer?
No.
The soccer stadium in Portland.
Yeah. Rommel and Deidre, they went to see the Foo Fighters. I
didn't
even know Green Day was coming.
That was literally last Wednesday night. Not this
Green Day.
No,
right?
Yeah, not 2 days ago, but the Wednesday before.
Green Day, right?
Yes, because I got off work. That was my last day of working before my vacation. Got off work and screamed down there, and I got there in time to see pretty much all of Green Day. Smashing Pumpkins opened for him, but I couldn't get off work.
See, I would. Oh man.
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest Smashing Pumpkins fan growing up. I had some songs I liked, but then as I got older, I appreciated it a little more. But the nostalgia reason too, I would love to have seen them. But that's right, Smashing Pumpkins and
both
fucking
shows
Green
were
Day.
great.
Green Day's a bucket list band of mine. So
I had never seen them, and I had never seen the Foos, and they were both bucket list. And I had not been in that stadium since they did the renovation and added the other side. I'd never been to a Timbers game. But I grew up in the area. I remember going to Civic Stadium, that's what it was called back then, in the 80s, watching Portland State football games. So to walk into that arena and see what they've done with it, it is an amazing place for a summer concert. 30,000 people both nights.
Wow.
Shit.
Sold out.
How were the shows?
Epic. I got so much video.
Is this your first time seeing both bands?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yes, I got tons of video. I posted on my Facebook page, so go check it out, dude. Both shows were friggin' great, dude.
I both of them are on my bucket list. And I hate to say this, but for certain reasons, I guess maybe more nostalgia, even Green Day more than Foo Fighters. Just because Green Day came out beforehand, that was such a big band when I was growing up. I'm sure you too, Brennan. They were huge in like middle school and all that shit.
Well, yeah,
because
the Foos formed after Kurt killed himself. Early to mid '90s. How long has Green Day been around? I guess
early '90s, but the time Nirvana was around.
Green Day was already out.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
so because I was listening to both at the same time.
Okay.
So for me, seeing Green Day is very similar to me seeing Nirvana.
Yeah.
Like in Bush and all that. I've seen Bush a couple times. They're amazing.
Yes, I saw Bush open for Nickelback several years ago. Yep.
I was at that same show. Was
at
that
the
Bush,
Moda
Nickelback, Seether, I believe?
Yes, at the Moda Center.
Me and Deidre are still together.
Oh my God.
One of my favorite. Gavin Rossdale comes out.
Yes.
On the floor and everything. We were on the floor.
Yep. We should probably do a time check because we're just going off random fucking rabbit holes now. But what time is it?
Brandon's like, you piece
I
of
think
shit. I've
we're
been drinking
over
water.
9:20.
Yeah, let's wrap it up because I get a long drive back. But seriously, appreciate both of you guys doing the podcast. This was awesome. You should both start your other one up or start a new one up, and I encourage maybe this will light a fire under your butts to get your shit together and do this.
Maybe for half a day or something.
Especially now that you see how easy it is, because as soon as I hit stop on that, it is automatically going to convert it into an MP4 file, and it'll save it to the folder I have. And then all I have to do is go to YouTube and upload it.
Yeah, you have to send me the program you use.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, would
'Cause
you?
if I just had it
down
set
to do
up
that?
at my house,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because
and
I
then I
told
didn't
you I'd
have to
drive
drive
to
to
you.
you, it would be.
If I
Yeah.
drive to you, and
Yeah.
we wouldn't have to put so much into the production part of it,
Yeah.
and we still have all the equipment between you and I with microphones, headphones, all that
You
shit.
could bank a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't recommend getting old because every time you stand up, it hurts.
It's better than the alternative.
Getting dead.
I do have that shotgun.